is a special presentation of ESPN on ABC.
Phoenix International Raceway on Veterans Day, and a beautiful fall afternoon in the desert for an old-fashioned Western shootout, NASCAR style. Expect Jimmy Johnson and Jeff Gordon to come out blazing in the Checker Auto Parts 500 presented by Pennzoil, the second-to-last race in the chase for the Nextel Cup.
9 weeks ago, 12 of the world's best were focused on one prize. But week after week, race after race, the contenders fell away. Today, with just 2 races left, roles are clearly defined.
It is kind of fun thinking we only got a race 24 and 48 though.
Yeah, everybody's worried about them. They're not paying any attention to us. That's why we want it.
Those in the hunt for a championship are also the hunted. For the leaders, a pursuit of history. For the spoilers, there's nothing to lose.
We love Phoenix, don't we? Yeah, all the way from home.
The hunt continues. The championship awaits.
The countdown is on, but is this simply history repeating itself? Last year, Jimmy Johnson entered the Texas race second in points, but emerged on top and never looked back on the way to his first championship. Then last week, again, Johnson enters Texas trailing by a slim margin in the points. This time, he not only collected his first ever Texas win, but he came away with a 30-point edge over teammate Jeff Gordon. So here's where we stand with just 2 races to go in the chase. Johnson on top after winning the last 3 races in a row. The good news for Gordon is that there have been 15 times this season where over a 2-race stretch he gained more than 30 points over his teammate. Clint Bowyer needs a bit of a miracle. 5th and 6th in the chase will be eliminated as soon as Jimmy starts today. 7 through 12 have already been knocked out. But boy, are they fighting for top 10 and the honor of going to New York City. Oh, hi, everyone. Welcome to our pit studio just outside of Turn 2. I'm Susie Culver along with Rusty Wallace and Brad Daugherty. The thing you always hear about Phoenix is this track is unique. Why?
Absolutely. Each end of the racetrack is opposites. I mean, you go through 1 and 2, it's 11 degrees of banking. It's very tight. The car almost plows up the banking. As you go down to 3 and 4, it goes to 9 degrees of banking, and it's a big, wide, sweeping loop through 3 and 4 to go into the front stretch.
So with all that said, then, what's the biggest challenge for drivers?
Susie, the biggest challenge is definitely get down in the turn 1. Turn 1, it narrows up really tight, and you're running 160 miles an hour. Everybody's trying to get to that bottom lane. And boy, sometimes it gets really tough, but bank on one thing. All the passing is going to happen on the exit of turn 2 and the exit of turn 4 here today.
Now, this track is about compromise. 2 ends so different. When Jeff Gordon won here in April, he said he's never had to drive so hard. So let's dial down on Gordon and Johnson. So far in the chase, Jeff has 2 wins and 5 top 5s. In fact, he's scored top 10s all the way except Dover. He has a better average finish than Johnson. But Jimmy has that extra win, and remember the edge he had in points from the start because he entered the chase with 2 more wins than Gordon did. And you've seen it down the stretch. Johnson has not been afraid to go for the win, and right now he's with Dave Burns.
Yeah, Susie, that was so fun watching him race for the win last week. That made it 3 in a row. You've got a chance to do 4 here, Jimmy, and you've got the championship on the line. So is there anything that you're trying to put to the back of your mind so you can just go race?
I'm trying not to worry about the stress that comes with the championship, and just trying to keep it simple and knowing that if I'm able to go out and score maximum points, everything else will fall into place. So I've been trying to keep it simple. So far it's worked well, 8 races into this chase. Hopefully I can keep it up for 2 more and keep performing like we have.
When you finished with last week, did you all say to yourselves, or were you spoken to say, let's dial it back a little at the end of the race if we're going to be that close?
No, we can't. I mean, every point counts, and that is part of the reason why I drove so hard last week, is because I needed those extra points, the 10 that came for winning, and get another car between Jeff and I. So it's go time, and today's going to be a good example of that.
It's a strategy that's working, Susie. 30 points up right now for the 48 team.
No, it sure is, and we wanted to know who the fans think will win out for the Nextel Cup. Our ESPN.com poll has been up all weekend asking just that. So who do the fans think? Well, it's Jeff Gordon by a slim margin. All right, so I'll put it to you two guys as we put this in perspective, because in any kind of a playoff, in any sport, you want the absolute best 2 teams fighting for a championship, and NASCAR has that. And we know it's team, and we'll get to the crew chiefs in just a bit. But first, which driver right now is driving better?
Well, I think if you had to pick the driver, unlike any other sport, momentum's so huge in this sport, you have to go with Jimmie Johnson. He has got the freight train rolling. Rusty, he has got the momentum behind his back, and most of all, he's got the confidence. I say Jimmie Johnson.
Boy, he really does. Brad, I am going to agree with you that.
Oh, there you go.
Sometimes we disagree, but I'm agreeing with you right there, Susie and everybody, because, look, he has won 3 in a row, and right now I care about what's happening right now. I don't care what happened a long time ago. Right now, this cat's rolling 3 in a row, and, hey, that's big.
All right, we have to give Brad some props, because since the very beginning of the chase, he has been talking about Jeff Gordon, Jimmie Johnson, virtually untouchable, and it sure does look that way right now.
Well, with that huge lead, I'm going to tell you, you're not going to beat these guys. They have the best cars, the best crew chiefs, the best equipment, and they're 2 of the best drivers. You give those guys a shotgun start on the field, it's over. Katie, bar the door, baby.
Hey, come on, settle down, big guy. This thing isn't over yet now.
You just won't give up, will you? You just will not give up.
The fat lady is not sung yet,
You will not give up.
I'm not going to give up. I'm not a quitter at nothing I do.
Well, let's hear what Jeff Gordon has to say. He's with Alan Bestwick.
And getting ready to be introduced on the stage in a minute. Jeff, how much of this race today is you versus Jimmie Johnson, and how much is go race and see how it turns out at the end of the day?
No, I still think, it's so tight that it's about going racing and see where it all ends up. We've got a great race car with this DuPont Chevrolet today, and, we've got to make the most of it, focus on our team, our car, our pit stops, and I think we've got a car that's really capable of winning this race today. So, I think we're more focused on that than anything else. I mean, the only way you can ever start focusing on somebody else, is if they have trouble, if they have problems, then you maybe play it a little more conservative. But right now, there's no way you can do it conservative. We got to be aggressive. Those guys have put it to us the last 3 weeks in a row, and it's time for us to return the favor.
You talked about needing to step it up here this weekend. Is that just simply a matter of results, or are there other areas that you were meaning by that?
No, I'm extremely happy with this race team and everything that they're doing. They're doing all the right things. We missed it last week. I was just disappointed that we never got the car to feel and to have the speed that we needed for the race, and it showed up, and that's why we got beat. And so when I say step it up, just we just gotta hit that setup. We got to hit it right. We got to pay attention to all the little details. Not saying that we didn't, and haven't been trying to do that, but we've missed it. And so we got to make sure that we hit it this weekend and next weekend. And those guys on the 48 team and Jimmie and all, is not going to allow anybody to make a mistake or to ease up. You got to push hard, because if you don't, they're going to end up winning the race.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Jeff Gordon, Susie, ready to go.
Well, it's been suggested that maybe this would be a little more compelling if these 2 guys weren't good friends, but I don't know, in one sense that adds pretty good intrigue.
Oh, I love it. I think it's great, because at some point these toes are going to get stepped on, just like we saw at Martinsville last year or earlier this year when Jimmie and Jeff got together, and I think it's going to happen. Today's a great opportunity for that, because this is almost like short track racing. It could be some egos bruised.
Well, Brad, I think that the Mr. Nice Guy stuff's about over right now. I mean, these guys are teammates, that's for sure, but look, they want to get that championship, both of them do. And they are nice to each other, and they're racing each other clean and all that junk. But they need to go out there and get it on right now and care about themselves.
Both guys took brief vacations with their wives last week. separate in Mexico, and they happened to run into each other.
Oh, man.
But they did not have lunch together.
There you go. That's the start of it.
When we come back, we'll tackle the question, how much is the crew chief and how much is the driver? We'll hear from Chad Knaus and Steve Letarte. Who's the best? We'll also get your opinion. One of the best views in NASCAR, looking down from Rattlesnake Mountain, Phoenix International Raceway, 20 miles southwest of downtown Phoenix. Police on horseback patrol those hills, giving new meaning to back in the saddle.
NASCAR Countdown on ABC, brought to you by Chevy, an American Revolution.
NASCAR coverage continues next weekend with the Busch Series Ford 300 on ESPN2 Saturday at 4 Eastern. And the final race in the chase for the Nextel Cup, the Ford 400 at Homestead Miami Speedway, comes your way on ABC Sunday, beginning with NASCAR Countdown at 3 Eastern. In NASCAR, rivals can also be teammates, and last week, the calls from the 24 and 48 captured the emotions of the day.
Another exciting day here in Texas. It's going to be fun. It's going to go down. It's going to get exciting. So,
yeah, down there 3 and 4, it's before I pick up the throttle. Down there 1 and 2 seems like it turns pretty good for me.
Talk about your visor here, dude. I don't think that stuff off there that's not going to mess up the visor. That's some safety glasses or some bubble goggles or something?
hell no. Look like a dork.
Who says you don't all the time anyhow?
Might be a little snug on our rights only, but we're just, I don't think it's going to be as bad as having to pass 3 more guys, so.
Well, we haven't passed anybody all day, so this is about the only way we can do it.
We're after all the points we can get. We're going to have to finish to get them. You're the master at it, man. Just get the best you can.
4 tires are better than 2, that's for damn sure. Put your cape on to pull it out.
Great job, Jimmy. Good fight. Sorry to get you a better car, man.
Go next week, get him.
Jimmy, great driving there, buddy. Bro, thanks for giving me this opportunity. Woo!
Well, these two teams may share all their info, but the approach Chad Knaus and Steve Letarte have taken has been noticeably different, as evidenced by last week's finish. With their thoughts, first we hand off to Jamie Little.
Well, Susie, so much has been made about Jimmie Johnson and Chad Knaus as a driver-crew chief combination. So, Chad, I have to ask you, what do you feel sets you and Jimmy apart from the other driver-crew chief relationships in the garage?
I think a lot of it, as much as other teams probably talk about the trust factor and how much the drivers and the crew chiefs really believe in one another. I think that's something that we really do have, is Jimmy really believes in what I've got to say, and I really believe in what he says. And there's no second guessing one another. He doesn't try to pretend, that he knows more about the race car than what myself and the engineers do, because, obviously there's no way the drivers can possibly do that. As they go off on their trips and appearances and things like that, they're not there every day living with wind tunnel data and 7-post data and stuff. So he knows that there's no way that he knows everything that's going on like the engineers and myself do. So he lets us do our job and doesn't really second guess us. And we definitely let him do his.
Well, Well, you and Jimmy will get to work today. They're going for 4 straight, something that hasn't been done since Jeff Gordon did it back in 1998. And speaking of Jeff Gordon, let's go on over to Mike Massaro, who's with his crew chief.
And Jamie, that's Steve Letarte, who's just emerged from the team's meeting. What'd you tell the team this morning?
Well, I just told the guys to keep doing what they're doing. Their focus and their hard work is what got us in this position to begin with. So we've had 34 good weeks, 28 top 10s. We need to just come out here, not be afraid to lose, do our thing, do it like we've done it all year long, and, just get the best finish we can.
And Susie, as you can tell from Steve's voice, very confident, very poised. Asked him just a while ago how loose the team is. He says, we're real loose. We've been here before.
Certainly have. Mike, we wanted to know from NASCAR fans, which crew chief did they believe has more impact on his driver this season? Chad Knaus or Steve Letarte? And the fans say it's fairly overwhelming, 61% Chad Knaus. So guys, who do you think this season has been more reliant on their crew chief?
Well, I would say Jimmy Johnson's been more reliant upon Chad Knaus. Chad actually brings so much to the table as far as information, input, strategy, and Jimmy listens to that. When you talk to Steve Letarte, he talks more about what Jeff is feeling and how Jeff feels about the race car and those types of things. Both totally different, but I think Jimmy relies on Chad more, Rusty.
Brad, I'm going to say something just a little bit different. I think that each crew chief and driver rely on both of them equally. I mean, both of these drivers need some help, and both of the crew chiefs need some help. I don't think we can single out any one of them that's better or worse. These teams are so close, and look, we're within 30 points. They're really relying on each other.
Well, you heard Steve just say about going for the win, but it seems as though he's been a little more conservative maybe than Chad. What do you think of their approaches?
I really think that Chad is very aggressive. He's very polished. He's paying a lot of attention. Not that Steve isn't, but when you talk to Chad Knaus, you can just tell he is in the game, and buddy, he is deep in that game. And he's won 3 in a row, so he's doing pretty good.
Yesterday I spent time with Tim Brewer in the tech center, and you realize the thousands of things that these crew chiefs are responsible for and the thousands of things that could possibly go wrong. Another headline for today's race, this is the final race for the COT, and we were looking for a report card.
My car feels great, Right now it feels better than my Busch car does.
I would just like to be able to keep pace with the Hendrick cars.
I'd like them to change a little bit. I'd like them to make it a little bit easier for the guys on the crew chiefs to work on them.
I definitely think that it's a D in some areas.
I regret saying this, but I think it deserves an A.
Overall, I think a B- would be an appropriate grade for this car.
I'm not a teacher. I don't give report cards. I just drive them.
So with some grades in, we turn to our own crew chief to find out what was the biggest challenge the COT presented. Here's Tim Brewer at the Chevy Cutaway car.
The largest problem a crew chief faces with a COT car, downforce on the front of the car. Why do you need downforce? Stick the nose to the racetrack, enable the car to turn through the corner. Air dam's been dictated. We can't manipulate it. The silhouette of the car, too many templates confined in that area. We can't bring the fenders out, making more downforce to the front of the car. Body location from the center of the front axle to the nose. If we could slide the body forward, more downforce. There again, NASCAR's got us confined, so inside that box, we're pretty much handcuffed here with a COT car.
Cutaway Car is brought to you by Chevy, the most wins in NASCAR history, an American revolution.
We heard from the driver. Our crew chief, what's your grade?
I think that the car deserves a B, and I'll tell you why. Because of the safety aspects. That's the most important thing to me. But it has made for some miserable racing over the past few weeks, simply because of the inability of the car to turn, no downforce, the high center of gravity. I think that has to be fixed over the summer, or over the winter, excuse me.
I do agree with you again. I believe the car gets a B. I really do. I think it's going to do a couple things. It's definitely safer. It's a safer car. I believe in the long run it's going to have controlling the cost a little bit more. But the thing I don't like about the car, it's not made for really good racing. I haven't seen a lot of side-by-side racing and a lot of passing. It's been a lot of follow the leader, and I believe it's because the cars are so identical, it's hard to pass them. But you know what? They will get that worked out. And I think if they work with Goodyear a little bit, maybe soften this tire up so there starts to be some haves and have-nots, that'll happen.
I agree.
How much input should crew chiefs and drivers have?
Oh, I think the crew chiefs and the drivers need to have a lot of input in this because they're much smarter than NASCAR. NASCAR is a dictating body, but no way are they as smart as the drivers and the crew chiefs.
But everybody better have a pretty positive attitude because next season there will be no alternative. And we know you've got a race to call and a long way to go do it.
No problem. I'll get up there. Hey, I'll be talking to you during the race. Everybody, So far, great show, huh?
We look forward to
All
it.
right.
Right. Straight ahead, the new look of NASCAR goes well beyond the car. The open wheel invasion continues here this weekend. In fact, history being made with the men who have mastered the Indy 500. We'll explain. And a little later, we'll hear from today's pole sitter. Carl Edwards has a whole lot of history here in Phoenix. In fact, he calls it a monumental experience. You're watching ESPN on ABC. Aerial coverage of Phoenix International Raceway brought to you by Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR, helping NASCAR drivers get to the finish line for the past 50 years. And who will cross that line first today? Well, Clint Boyer has been pretty consistent, right, Dave?
He sure has, Susie, and I know what fans have appreciated a lot about Clint Boyer is his emotion throughout this whole chase. The win at Loudon, and then there have been some downtimes too, which last week I know has to be tough to recover from. How have you dealt with that and made sure that you're ready to try to make some ground this weekend?
The only way you can. I mean, you just got to forget about it and go on to next week. You know, we bobbled a little bit last week and enabled them to really get out on us big time. But, I mean, bottom line is that we're going to have a lot of help on their side for us to even get back in this game. But we can go out. We still need to win another race by the end of the season. Phoenix has been a good track to us. This has been a good car for us. Hopefully, we can put those two combinations together and get another win.
Yeah, you know, Susie, car of tomorrow on a flat 1 mile oval, that works out well sometimes for Clint Boyer.
Sure has. Boyer will be racing against a trio of NASCAR newcomers. After 6 failed attempts, last year's Indy 500 winner, Sam Hornish, finally qualifies. He'll start 26th. 2000 Indy 500 winner Juan Pablo Montoya has set the bar high. And then add in 95 Indy 500 champ Jacques Villeneuve. And today's race marks the first NASCAR Nextel Cup event in 31 years with 3 previous Indy 500 winners. Here's Jamie.
1. Well, as Juan Pablo Montoya's first full season winds down, one season is just beginning. Second Cup start today for Jacques Villeneuve. And Juan, I'm going to ask you first, as you look back on this first full season, living in a motor coach, racing every single weekend, 2 wins under your belt, 1 in Busch, 1 in Cup. How would you assess this year?
I think it's been a great year being my first year here. It's been an awesome experience, and I think Jack is going to experience an experience unlike anything else he's done. You know, racing is unbelievable. Fans are great, so it's great.
So I'm going to ask you, Jacques, he's set the bar pretty high for you open wheelers coming in here, a win in Busch this year and a win in Cup. What are your expectations for NASCAR?
Well, the expectation after seeing what Juan Pablo has done, you know, he set the bar, as you said, pretty high, and but it's an encouragement for all of us to see that he got in here and adapted quickly, and you know, made a spot in the sport. So that's just a great encouragement for all of us.
Definitely changing times. 3 former Indy 500 winners in the field today, 2 starting today. Susie?
Jamie, we go from newcomer to newcomer. The key word for Sam Hornish, finally, or how about relief? He's with Mike Massaro.
And we've talked several times about Helio Castroneves on Dancing with the Stars. Well, he's not the only open wheeler learning new steps, as you mentioned, Susie. Sam Hornish Jr. finally qualifying for a Nextel Cup race. What's this been like for you trying to make this transition?
Well, it has been a little bit frustrating, but I knew it was going to be difficult, so I just kind of kept my head up, kept working away at it, trying to learn it, and it really you know, gave me a lot more ambition to want to come and try to do this full time. I feel like I had went in and accomplished the goals that I had in IndyCar race and had a lot of fun there, and just decided that it was time for me to try something new and see if I couldn't get to the point where I was competitive in this.
Well, it's going to be a difficult transition, but there is reason for optimism, Susie. Sam Hornish Jr. does have 2 victories here at the Phoenix International Raceway, both in an IRL car.
And another reason for optimism down the road, and this has to do with points, and this has not been confirmed, it's just been talked about and rumored, that Penske would transfer points from Kurt Busch, who was a 2004 champ, so provisional, from his points to Sam Hornish so he could get in those first 5 races of next year. What do you think about that?
Boy, that's tough. I mean, Kurt Busch is a tremendous qualifier, and it would work, and it ultimately would be the boss's call and Mr. Penske. But, boy, I think that could create a little bit of animosity on a team. We've seen it this year with Dale Jarrett trying to qualify on the past champion provisionals multiple times, and it's just so frustrating. Once you're out of those, it really creates a lot of tension. So I hope they don't do that. I think Sam Hornish is capable enough with enough seat time of qualifying on his his own volition.
Yeah, Roger Penske did say this morning it's still undecided, but it's just questionable. It almost feels like a free pass in a sense.
Yeah, it does.
It?
That would be tough.
But it would be very good for Hornish. Yeah. Well, as we close in on race time, we'll be keeping an eye on Kyle Busch. He's doing a quadruple duty this weekend. Friday night, he won the truck race. Saturday afternoon, he won the Busch race. Then flew off to Vegas for a late model race. Back at Phoenix today, he could become the first to ever win all 3 series in one weekend. We're counting down to 312 miles at the track known for cactus and quirky corners. We're only about 20 minutes away. We'll be back in a moment with more from Phoenix International Raceway after these messages and a word from our local ABC stations.
Quarterback Matt Hasselbeck, Seattle is in its familiar spot atop the NFC West. Mike Holmgren's team is only 4-4 and has work to do. Alex Smith and the 49ers trying to stand in the way at 8:30 Eastern on ESPN's Monday Night Football.
And speaking of Monday Night Football, Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson will be our guests at halftime. And this telecast is available on ABC HD, presented by DLP HD TV. And in just a few months, all eyes on the University of Phoenix Stadium for Super Bowl 42. Phoenix, special for Carl Edwards here as well. This was the very first place he ever raced on pavement back in 2001. Shannon Spake is with the Bud Pole Award winner.
Well, Susie, joining me now is your Bud Pole Award winner, Carl Edwards. Now, there are 2 races left in this season. You've clinched the Busch Championship. You're eliminated from the chase. What is your focus over these next 2 Sundays?
Well, I mean, the focus is just to get wins. I mean, that's the deal, and our guys have done a great job. The Solvus Depot Fusion's real good, and man, I love Phoenix. And aside, with the wins, the deal is just to have a good time. We've got great guys, great team, and if we can go out and have a good time these last 2 races, maybe pick up a trophy or 2, that'd be perfect.
All right, we'll have fun today, and good luck on that pole.
And Shannon, the memories from this past April still echo. Jeff Gordon not only collected his first Phoenix win, he tied Dale Earnhardt for career wins with 76. He had been holding on to the coveted number 3 flag for months, waiting to wave it after not having won since the previous July. And Jeff said he was overwhelmed. And once again, we ask you, the fan, to weigh in. If you were starting a race team, which driver would you sign? Jeff Gordon or Jimmy Johnson? Jeff Gordon gets the edge here. Brad Daugherty, former team owner, I ask you, you're starting a team right now in Cup. Who's your driver?
That's a tough question, and I'll tell you why. It depends on the resources. If I have Rick Hendrick's resources, then you have to look at Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson. But if you got Brad Daugherty's resources and you're starting a race team, I'm going with Kyle Busch. That cat may be the most talented guy in that garage. He flat drives the wheels off a race car. I go with Kyle Busch.
Who do you like today?
I like Jeff Gordon today. Jeff's going to be tough today. He's going to bounce back from last week. I don't know. Let's get this thing started.
All right, here we go. We're set for 312 laps, 312 miles on this fast, slick mile track. And right now, opening ceremonies.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and remove your hats as the Luke Air Force Base Honor Guard presents our nation's colors. Please pause, if you will, for a moment of silence in remembrance of our United States veterans. Please remain standing as Phoenix International Raceway Chaplain Ken Bowers offers today's invocation.
Thank you, Heavenly Father, for gathering us together today at our beloved Phoenix International Raceway for the running of the Checker Auto Parts 500. We're reminded today of those relationships that mean most to us, our families and loved ones and friends. And we're encouraged to be encouraging to our fellow man. And I would pray that everyone would take the encouragement to honor you today by turning to our left and our right and greeting our fellow fans with a most affectionate smile. These things we pray, O Lord, in the name of the one who loved us most, and everyone said, Amen.
Now please welcome Dr. Jesse McGuire Sr. as he performs our national anthem.
Veterans Day. A deep thank you to all who have fought for us. And a picture-perfect day for racing, the second-to-last race in the chase for the Nextel Cup, a duel in the desert. Up to the men who will call today's race, Rusty Wallace, Andy Petrie, and Dr. Jerry Punch.
Thank you so much, Susie. Just 2 races remain, and 6 drivers are still mathematically in contention for the title. Realistically, though, Clint Boyer is hanging by a thread, so it's essentially become a 2-horse race, just 30 points separating the top 2 teammates, Jimmie Johnson and Jeff Gordon. Now, look at these horses head-to-head. Since Jimmie Johnson's rookie season in 2002, he actually has more overall wins. However, Jeff Gordon has won here at Phoenix, and Jimmie Johnson has not. Hello, everyone. Along with the champs, Rusty Wallace and Andy Petrie, I'm Jerry Punch. Glad to have you with us on what is just a gorgeous day weather-wise for the next to the last chase for the Nextel Cup. And Rusty, okay, now you're Jimmie Johnson, you know, the points leader. What is your #1 focus here today?
Jerry, my #1 focus has got to be Jeff Gordon. I'm personally racing Jeff Gordon right now. Look, I want to win this race for myself and my team, but I need to be careful. If I get more points than Jeff, hey, I can stay leading this championship, so that's my goal.
And these 2 crew chiefs here, Chad Knaus and Steve Letarte, are from the same camp with essentially the same equipment. How does one gain an edge over the other here today?
Well, Doc, after the things you just mentioned, what's left is executing on the racetrack. These guys, the drivers, are going to go head-to-head and try to outrun each other on the racetrack. The crews on the pit road are going to try to outduel each other on pit road. And what else is left is pit strategy. One of these guys can come up with maybe something and outsmart the other one, and that might be the difference in this race.
It is the duel in the desert that could possibly decide a championship. Which of these drivers and crew chiefs will be the first to pull the trigger in terms of a move to win the race and possibly the chase? We'll find out in a moment.
Sold out Phoenix International Raceway set for the command to start engines in just a moment for the second to last race of the NASCAR Nextel Cup season. I'll give you a few numbers here. 19 cars finished on the lead lap, 33 within 2 laps of the leader, 41 running at the finish. That from the April race here. Those numbers to show that a problem today for either Jeff Gordon or Jimmie Johnson could be very costly. Something as simple as a flat tire or a mechanical issue, they could lose as much as 100 points. And that could be more than they could have the ability to dig out from in the remainder of this race and the season finale at Homestead next week. Control what you can control and avoid trouble. The story for the championship contenders today. Doc?
Alan, the old adage holds true. In order to finish first you must finish. Well, let's get this party started. As we go down trackside, drivers are buckled up. Let's hear the command.
And now, race fans, please welcome back your Grand Marshal, Larry Mondry, as he delivers the most famous words in motorsports.
Gentlemen, start your engines!
Bring him up. Fire and hold. All right, bud, fire it up. Fire it up.
10-4. All right, guys, double check your equipment. We got a good car here today. Gotta not beat ourselves. Can't take ourselves out of it today. Let's have fun and go get it.
Field of 43 roars to life. It includes 10 former Phoenix winners, 7 former Cup champions, and 6 drivers who hope they still might have a shot at a NASCAR Nextel Cup title. Take a look at where they're starting. Our starting grid. Carl Edwards becomes the 18th different Bud Pole Award winner. His 3rd career Bud Pole, and beside him, 2nd week in a row for the front row, Martin Truex Jr. Let's visit now with our in-race reporter, the driver of the 07 DirecTV Chevrolet, starting back in 20th spot. Here's Clint Boyer.
Hey, Clint, Rusty Wallace, ESPN, you got us?
I got you, Rusty.
Hey, Clint, buddy, you still got a fighting shot in these points, man. But, you know, you won at New Hampshire. This is the same tire, kind of a flat racetrack. Does that give you some hope?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's the same race car that brought us to victory lane there, kind of the same racetrack. So hopefully we'll see the same result. I mean, that's definitely, you know, what we got our eye on.
Hey, buddy, you're watching your practice. Looks like your car was kind of slipping and sliding around a little bit. What's been your biggest struggles here this week with it?
It's just kind of total grip. I mean, these cars are, you know, naturally tight, and you got to free them up to get them to turn the corner, and then you kind of got both ends flipping and sliding around. Just kind of lacking a little total grip, but it's the same for everybody. You just got to get up on the old steering wheel and make it happen.
All right, buddy, we'll be talking to you later. You know, miracles can happen, man, and I know you need one today if you're going to win this thing, buddy.
4, thank you.
Calling his shots for Clint today will be veteran crew chief Gil Martin. Let's visit with Gil.
Hey, Gil Martin, Andy Petrie up here. You got a copy?
Yeah, Andy, I've got you.
Hey, Gil, with track position being so important and valuable at these 1 mile racetracks, flat 1 miles, what can you do down there on pit road to kind of help yourself out?
Well, hopefully we've dialed a setup good enough into the Jack Daniel Chevrolet right there where we can drive ourselves into some track position, because obviously 2 tires is the way to get you position if you need it. I don't know if I'm willing to gamble that today or not, because grip is at a premium here, and I hate to give away 50% of it by taking 2.
10-4, I got you. Hey, I know Richard Childress is, you know, he likes to be very involved in the race. Did you guys give him that radio without the microphone?
Man, we're trying to. We changed frequencies this morning and everything else, but he's got some pretty good spies. He can keep up with us pretty good.
10-4, Gil. You guys have good luck today.
You know you worked with me. You know what I'm telling, buddy.
Hey, we got you, Richard. Take care of him down there.
Richard Childress listening in to everything that happens. Good to hear from RC, by the way, former employer of Andy Petrie. Clint Bowyer got a long day ahead of him, folks. He starts way back in 20th spot. Does he have enough to be a contender here as we go to Homestead next week?
ESPN's coverage of NASCAR Nextel Cup Series on ABC. Brought to you by Chevy, an American revolution. Coca-Cola, thanks for drinking. And Aflac, ask about it at work.
Welcome back to Phoenix International Raceway, where one of the keys today is making every pit stop count. As the sun sets this afternoon, turns 1 and 2 will become shaded, meaning they'll increase in grip. Meanwhile, turns 3 and 4 will continue to bask in the sunlight and become greasier and greasier. This will require teams to adjust throughout the day. They can ill afford to make a misadjustment, because if you do not keep up with this racetrack, it's real easy to get burned here in the Valley of the Sun. Jamie?
Well, going into turn 1 is going to be the biggest issue for the drivers. So what option do they have for that sun beaming down? Well, inside the cockpit, there will be tape on a lot of those windshields for drivers to tear off. They also have the option to run different types of tinted lenses. Jimmy Johnson, he's running this visor, and what he's done is modified it so he can pull off tape as that sun sets, because guys, it's all about that clear visibility as he eyes his 4th win in 4 races. Dave Burns?
Jamie, spring rubbers like this are already located in the springs, the rear springs of Jeff Gordon's race car. Rear tire changer Kevin Gilman can pop them in or pop them out if need be to adjust his race car. Jamie Frady, Catch Can Man, and Jeff Knight, the rear tire carrier, have wrenches like this that they can put through the back window to adjust his race car. Mike mentioned the changing track. This thing will change. Your car will change. You have to be good at these adjustments all night long to keep your guy up front. Doc?
And thank you, guys. We'll be riding along with 8 different drivers and onboard cameras. Kurt Busch carries a camera in the Miller Dodge. Denny Hamlin, the FedEx Freight Chevrolet. Tony Stewart, the Home Depot Chevy. Kevin Harvick, the Shell Pennzoil Chevrolet. Jeff Burton, the AT&T Chevy. Kyle Petty, the Sprint Wells Fargo Victory Junction Gate Dodge. And Tony Raines, the Texas Instruments DLP Chevrolet. You've already heard from Clint Bowyer, the DirecTV Chevrolet, our in-race reporter, and also the pace car, the Chevy pace car. Looking back, Brett Bodine aboard, getting a bird's eye view of the field behind him. Car is setting for the start here. A packed house at the 1 mile Jewel of the Desert Phoenix International Raceway, folks. 312 laps, 312 miles, 500 kilometers. There's the pit road speed, the pit window. It is all about compromise. Each of these rims of the racetrack have a different radius and different degree of blanking. Glad to have you with us. 10 former Phoenix winners, 7 former Cup champions. One step closer to crowning a champion. Could it happen today? Could it be a big change today? Green flag waves as Carl Edwards moves into turn 1. Jeff Gordon started 3rd and slides right up in the 3rd spot. On his mind, right off the bat, one thing, he's got to get up there.
Absolutely, he's got to get up there and get the 5 points, get a bonus out of something here. He's going to try to get around Martin Truex Jr. as quick as he can, and also Carl Edwards. He's got to run this thing like it's a qualifying lap right now, Andy. Get some points. That's what's got to be on his mind.
Yeah, he can't just start this race like a normal race. He's got to push hard. He's got to push really hard until he can try to get those 5 points. A lot of times you can just sit back and kind of wait for the race to come to you, but he's up there. He's in a good spot to try to go after these points. I'm sure he's going to drive this thing hard as he can right here.
Folks, the air pressures on these tires are coming up right now. The car's a little bit ill handling right now at the moment. They got about 12 pounds of air in the left-hand sides, about 30 pounds of air in the right side. And it's going to take a while, Andy, for the pressures to get up where the handling gets better and better.
Yeah, we just saw one of the cars go in the corner there and lock up the left front wheel. Those tires are really not up to temperature and pressure yet, and that's why these guys are probably going to maybe lock up those brakes. You may see some smoke here early.
2 by 2 back in the race, back in the pack. Of course, Jeff Gordon third, Jimmy Johnson, who leads the points, back in 5th position. Here's the 31 car of Jeff Burton hanging back there. The 9 car of Casey Kane. Burton now on the move.
Guys, we talked earlier in our show about how close this racetrack is to a track like New Hampshire, a pretty flat course. The tire that's on these cars right now are exactly the same as they had at New Hampshire. We all know how good Jeff Burton was there and how good Clint Boyer is also at that track.
Jeff Burton, a 2-time winner here. And we talked to Richard Childress last night. He said when Jeff Burton qualifies that well and is that good in happy hour, look out for the 31 car.
I talked to his crew chief, Scott Miller, this morning down there. He said that they felt like they were going to be pretty good, but this car tomorrow has been so finicky. He says he's almost afraid to predict how they're going to be, but they sure looked good in practice yesterday.
48 car, Jimmy Johnson trying to make the pass. He started 6th. He's now in 5th, and now he's in 4th.
Yeah, he's got a strike too, Jerry. He knows that he wants to get up there on these fresher tires, and if he's got a better car, he wants to drive this baby right to the front. No being careful right now. I mean, yeah, he's driving careful, but he wants the points at the same time.
Rusty Wallace, you said #1 focus on Jimmy Johnson's mind is to keep an eye on the 24 car, and all he's got to do right now is look out that front windshield.
Yeah, right now he's got him in his gun sights. He wants to pass him. He wants to pick a position up, and Jamie, these two are going to be going at it right off the bat. You can tell that.
They really are going to be going at it, but Chad Canals came over the radio just as the race started and told Jimmy, hey, you're on the same tires from qualifying. Now, if you're slow a little bit on this start and guys start passing you, don't be alarmed. They're on sticker tires, so he's warning his driver. He's on older tires. We watched Jimmy Johnson, who's gained 1 position since the start.
One thing they're talking about right there is the top 10 qualifiers start on scuff tires. They've qualified on them, run a couple laps. These other guys can start on stickers. And so, believe it or not, that can actually be a little bit of an advantage at the beginning of the race.
Here's the 07 car, our in-race reporter, Clint Boyer, who started back in 20th position. He has now already moved up 4 spots. And last night, discussions, and we were at the hotel talking to some of his crew, Richard Childress, they said they were not very good in the final practice session because they had changed the trailing arms. They were very good early in the day, and they were going to go back to what was good early in the early practice on Saturday.
Well, that's what these practice sessions are all about, is throw things at the car, see what works, what doesn't work, and then go back and put your best package under the car. So that's just good business right there, and you never quit trying to find that advantage.
Andy, there was many times when I raced that I would never go out there and get a real fast lap or in practice really good, but what I did know was that I tried this and this worked, I tried that and this did not work. We would go back and assemble all that together and pick out the best of everything, and then in our mind we knew we had a good car. Nobody else probably knew it, but we knew it.
You don't have to prove it in practice, you got to prove it out here in the race.
Yeah, absolutely, Doc. As I was talking last night to Richard Childress, I was asking about the predicament that Clint Boyer's in. He says, hey, let me tell you something, Brad. We are tickled to death with Clint Boyer's year, his season, and where he's at right now. And we're hoping for a miracle. But this young man has had an outstanding season, and he has. We need to remember that Clint Boyer got his first win in the chase, and right now he does sit third, even though he's a ways away, but he is in position to have an opportunity.
Yeah, this car here we talked about is the one he won with at New Hampshire. Not only did he win, he spanked them. He opened up a can on the competition. He led 222 laps. Now, how about the 20 car? He was awfully good here in the spring. Alan Bester.
Yeah, he only won the race here back in April, Doc. Got passed by Jeff Gordon in the late going and wound up finishing just behind him. This team not very happy with this car's performance in practice yesterday. So they worked a lot on getting the rear end to stick underneath it for Tony Stewart. Tony has driven 6 different types of cars here. He told his team just a little while ago, we may be out of the championship, but we sure can win these last 2 races this year.
Tony Stewart led 132 laps here back in April and finished second to Jeff Gordon. Looks like he is trying to start making his move now by the inside of the 17 to Kenseth. Now pulls up behind Casey Kane. 11 of 312 laps are in the books. And pole sitter Carl Edwards has led all 11 laps thus far. It is Edwards, Truex, and then our 2 points contenders, Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson in 3rd and 4th. J.J. Yaley is 5th. Back after these messages and a word from our ABC stations. We welcome you back to the Checker Auto Parts 500 here at Phoenix International Raceway. Let's take a look at our AT&T Crew Chief Challenge. Now, which of the open-wheel drivers will have the highest finish here today? Patrick Carpentier in the field, Sam Hornish Jr., Juan Pablo Montoya, or Jacques Villeneuve? Text the word crew to 191 on your wireless phone and send in your answer. The results will be shown later in the race. Jimmy Johnson not wasting any time, guys, to try to move in on 24 and take the spot away.
No, he's not. I was just ready to say, boy, I've been watching his car. He's been catching him every lap, but not by a whole lot. He's really getting in the corner a lot deeper than he is, Andy. 28 to 48 car Jimmy Johnson be able to dive down in there a little better.
I'm surprised, at how hard Jeff Gordon's racing him for this spot right now. He's definitely not giving it to him. He's going to make him earn it.
Yeah, lap after lap, we've been looking at the lap times. They've been very, very similar, but the last 4 laps, I've noticed, especially going on into turn 3, he's been catching them there.
Dave? Great to see him racing this hard already, Doc. Maybe Jeff was taking a page from Jimmy's book from last week. Right now, the 24 car a little bit loose, and you guys were talking earlier about not winning in practice necessarily. Jeff Gordon's car wasn't that great in yesterday's final practice. Ask Steve Letarte about it. He said, we started final practice just fine. We didn't go anywhere from there, so it wasn't a practice that had a lot of oohs and ahs about how the car improved. We just went back to what we had. We feel that that will be good enough for today's race, and they can get it tightened up a little bit. Just might be.
From 2 Hendrick teammates to a 3rd Hendrick car. That's awfully good. Now, folks, Kyle Busch started back in 38th position, and he has just moved into 19th spot. There's the 5 car for Kyle Busch, and what a weekend it has been here. He won the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Race on Friday. He won in dominant fashion the NASCAR Busch Series race here on Saturday, and if he could pull off the win today, he'd be the first driver to sweep all 3 major NASCAR series in the same weekend at the same racetrack. Now, Kevin Harvick has won in all 3 series, and so is he, but not in the same weekend at the same track.
Well, now that would be something. You could do it the same week. You would really have a big little bit of step when you walk. You'd be pounding your chest going, I am the man, because he would be that particular week, that's for sure.
More on Kyle Busch. Let's go down to Mike Massaro.
And clearly, Doc, that confidence and knowledge of this racetrack paying off. As you mentioned, he's picked up 19 spots in the first 23 laps, completely on the move. I spoke with Alan Gustafson before the race, asking him about the historical context of perhaps pulling off the trifecta. He said that would be great, but more important is just getting a win. Feels like they're more than a one-win team. They only have a single victory this year. Feels like they need a victory just to justify how well they have been running throughout 2007.
And Mike, the only negative for Kyle Busch was he left here last night and flew over to Las Vegas to run a late model stock race, and came from the back of the field all the way up to 2nd spot and was in an accident, and they wanted to send him to the back of the pack to restart. He didn't want to do that, so he got in the helicopter and came back to Phoenix. So, but not bad. He had 2 wins out of 3, and both of them in Major League NASCAR racing. Didn't do so well, though, on the short track at Las Vegas last night.
Well, they tried to go over there and rough up with some of those short trackers over there in Vegas. Probably made him mad. And when they tried to put him in the back, he made himself mad. He just got out of there.
Trouble on the racetrack. 38 car.
Hi, bud. Straighten it out. Good job. Good job.
Looks like he's just spun the car around. No damage.
Got a little damage on the right front.
Must have a little bit on the right front, but we didn't see much. There we go. Yeah, he's gotten into somebody there and caused that car to spin.
And Andy, we've talked all year long about these car tomorrows, how tough they are. I mean, these things have been bouncing off the walls, and the drivers just keep on going. They're very, very well built. They're built like an army tank, is what I tell them.
This damage right here looks like it's off somebody's left rear tire.
Right side of your screen, David Gilliland.
Oh, just runs out of room right there. See the 66 car, Jeremy Mayfield, kind of comes down on him, just really couldn't try to pull himself off the other car, and this is the end of it. I mean, just 3 guys going for really only 1 position available, and they collide.
Pit road will be open, a track that gets very hot and very slippery. And what do you say about tires, Andy?
There's no tire like a new tire, and these guys are going to come in here and get some.
All right, we're going to watch the 24 and 48 as they come down at 45 miles an hour. Watch the crew chiefs and the pit crews. Let's go down to Dave Burns.
Well, Jeff Gordon's going to bring this car down pit road, saying that it is a handful right now, especially loose going into the corner. There will be a chassis adjustment. You see Caleb Herb putting in the wedge bar adjustment. He will change that. They will change 4 tires, air pressure as well. Jamie?
And Jimmie Johnson on the right side. He said he's tightened this center. He said it's not horrible. It's like what they had in practice yesterday, and they were pretty happy with it. They're going to go up on that pan hard bar. 4 tires and fuel for Jimmie Johnson. He's down and away in 14-1.
Race off of pit road after the first caution flag today. Carl Edwards, who came in the leader, will come out. Ryan Newman up 11. Scott's got to believe some tire strategy going on there. Truex back a spot. How about Clint Boyer? You want to give him a chance to get up there? 2 tires for the 99. And how about Boyer? We talked about maybe some gambles there with Gil Martin.
Yeah, we heard Gil say he didn't want to do it. He wanted to do it the old-fashioned way by passing on the racetrack, but he took an opportunity to gain a bunch of spots right there.
Adjustments on the 25 of Casey Mears. Rear tire carrier, the crew camp, Matt Bus Myers out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
He's multitasking right here. He puts on that tire for the tire changer, takes a couple of rounds out of that jack screw, and he's got to run around here to the other side. But they just got 2 tires, so he was all finished.
Man, that happened quick. It looks like he took that jack screw and went down on it, which would tighten the car up. He must have had a loose condition out there, Andy.
Yeah, most of these guys have been talking about how loose this racetrack is, and it's been a struggle for these guys to get enough rear grip off the corner.
For more information on adjustments, log on to ESPN.com. Search word know-how. The 7 car, Robbie Gordon, will be going to the tail end of the longest line because of a tire violation on the outside of the pit box. By the way, 2 tires on, as you mentioned, on the 07 of Clint Boyer, and that's gotten him all the way up to 6th spot.
Coming to the green. Green's on you.
Pace car has the leaders in tow. Carl Edwards as the pace car peels away. Let's listen into the spotters as we go full throttle.
Pace car down. Get ready. Get ready. Ready. Green flag. Flag. 2 back. Keep still inside. Quarter bumper clear. Now, 1. Clear. Clear all around. Still clear. Clear all around. Clear all around. Outside. Clear all around. Still clear all around. Still there. Inside. Still there. Clear, bud.
Carl Edwards holding on. He has led all 29 laps thus far. Newman in 2nd spot, but here comes the challenge back from Martin Truex Jr.
Guys, this can be a good indication of how good 2 tires really are. Carl Edwards has got 2 tires on his car. How long can he hold on? We saw in the Busch Series race yesterday, 2 tires worked pretty good. But Andy, I got to feel this car tomorrow, it's not going to work as well.
I don't think it is either. I think that these left side tires are going to give these guys a lot more grip than we saw yesterday. And so you see there that Carl has got a good lead. He's got that fresh air on there, but these tires, I don't think he can overcome that.
The car tomorrow's got so much body roll. It's so top heavy. It's a little taller than a regular Busch Series car, the older car that tries to roll over more. And it wears the right side tires harder. So, hey, 4 tires is generally the best call for this style of car.
Carl Edwards a leader. Truex now in 2nd position. Remember, Ryan Newman gained all those positions on that exchange on pit road a moment ago. He's back in 3rd, trying to hang there. Jimmie Johnson, though, right on the rear deck of Newman's Dodge.
See, this is, Jimmy's car's working really well on these 4 tires.
The one thing I like to look at, the air dams on the 12 car and the 48 car, the front splitters, how the attitude was so much different coming off the corner. You see how the 48 is very, very low to the ground, and the 12 car of Ryan Newman's kind of up in the air. So 2 different approaches here.
Let's check in the pits. Injury down there, Jamie?
That's right. Bad news for Jeff Burton's gas man, Larry Hartle. When he went over the wall, he got hit by a tire, and it made his knee buckle. They're checking him out. They're going to take him out right now and further evaluate him. Bad news, Jeff Burton sitting 7th in points. They're going to have to bring in a backup gas
Well, they took his left leg, Jerry, lifted up, put it on top of that seat. It looked like that would hurt more than a tire hitting it.
Yeah, trying to keep the swelling down and get it elevated up there for Larry Hart. We'll update you when we know something. It can get dangerous in a hurry, not only on the racetrack, but on pit road here at a NASCAR Nextel Cup event. Carl Edwards showing the way here. Jeff Gordon now picking up another spot on the 0-7. Gordon now takes the 5th spot. Jimmy Johnson, the guy he's chasing in the points, is currently in 3rd position behind Truex and Carl Edwards. Lap 34, you're watching ESPN on ABC. We welcome you back to Phoenix. This broadcast is available in Spanish by activating your SAP button, presented by ESPN Deportes. Along with Andy Petrie, Rusty Wallace, I'm Jerry Punch. Glad to have you with us. Lap 39 of 312. And folks, Carl Edwards, who was the pole sitter, has led all 39 laps thus far. Martin Truex is second, and Jimmy Johnson, who changed 4 tires, slowly marching his way toward the front.
We're talking about tires, and we thought maybe that this 2-tire stop by the 99 was a wrong move, but boy, it sure is working out well for him. I guess there's 2 ways of looking at that. With this car rolling over and not having the downforce like the Busch cars we saw yesterday, you know, the left side tires maybe don't get as much work and don't get abused, and makes this right side tire change work better.
Well, Andy, we have to see what's happening there right now, because they're all running about the same times for the last 4 or 5 laps. The top 3 cars have, even though Carl Edwards only got 2 tires. But the difference is, before this caution came out, he was about a 1/10 and a half faster than the rest of these guys, so it might have equaled itself out here.
Remember, coming on the pits just a moment ago, Jeff Gordon said this car is a handful. It was very, very loose. Let's listen into some radio communication.
Handful. I put a little wedge in it and really worked those air pressures like we talked before. That's what's been the best adjustment for us. Air pressure speed. Soft, boys. That's what you just did right there, getting in the pits. That's what we need every stop, man. That was perfect. Perfect getting in the pits.
Boy, he got in that pit area. He's got Bill Elliott in front of him, and I think what they're banking on is that Bill Elliott, the car has not been real good for Elliott. You're thinking that maybe that car might go a lap down, then they're going to have an opening in the front. But until then, he's really got to get in that pit box perfectly in order to get out good. And Jimmy did a great job that last time.
He got lucky that time. The 21 car did not pit the first time by, and that did leave an opening for him on that particular stop. So Bill Elliott is in the lead lap now. So if they have a caution now, they'll have to deal with it.
Why would Bill Elliott do that? Just trying to be nice to everybody?
No, he's probably trying to get those 5 points because he's fighting for the top 35 spot.
2 tires, remember, for Mears, a 25 car. He's trying to fight his way and hold on to 17th spot, but Kevin Harvick is coming by. Here is Harvick on the inside, trying to grip the inside of the racetrack. Alan Bestwick.
Dilemma for this race team, Doc. Todd Berrier, the crew chief, told me for Kevin Harvick this morning, he said, we have a car that can be a top 5 car, but we've got to get track position somehow. They started in 34th place. You see, he's made a nice move up through the field. Berrier didn't think they could pass all the way to the top 5, but so far they're working on it. They did get 4 tires on their stop.
Harvick now trying to move in on the 42 car, Juan Pablo Montoya. And the folks in this camp for Ganassi and Sabanos thought this car would be very good today. In fact, it's already been pretty good because he's had some trouble making some passes. In fact, a moment ago, watch what happened with the 8 car of Dale Earnhardt Jr. Earnhardt Jr. got a little bit sideways, now held on. Montoya right behind him. And there's a couple more bumps.
Well, you see, Montoya's just really working over the rear bumper of Dale Earnhardt Jr. Probably got Jr. a little mad at him right now for doing that, but you can tell that the 8 car's pretty loose at the moment. Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s car, so he's going to need a pit stop to get that thing tightened up.
Jr., a 2-time winner here at Phoenix. Remember, he's gone 60 races without a victory. Got 2 more chances this weekend at Homestead to try to get his first win in 2007. Dave Burns.
And just a quick update on that 8 car for you guys. During the first run, Earnhardt Jr. described it as sporty. They made an air pressure adjustment during that stop, but right now he's saying it will not turn. I'm knocking down the wall with it. That's a direct quote from the driver of the 8 car.
8 car of Earnhardt Jr. in 20th. Now right behind him is the 22 car of Dave Blaney in the Toyota. critical effort these last two events for the 22 car. Why? Because see where they are in terms of owners' points, and you want to be able to stay. You've got to stay in the top 35. Why? Well, let's ask owner Bill Davis how important it is to be in the top 35 in the owners' points headed to 2008.
Well, this is important to us as winning the championship is from 24 to 48. You know, just going into Daytona particularly, because so many things can happen there, and the guys out of the top 35 really have very few opportunities to get in the race.
Boy, if you're an owner, you want to be able to go to Daytona in February. It's important in the offseason when you're dealing with sponsors to be able to say, hey, we're there. We're locked in to that Daytona 500.
Jerry, you have hit the nail on the head right there. The sponsors are going to have a lot of guests go to Daytona. They want to go down there knowing that their car is in the race no matter what happens. It's not about the employees and the drivers. When you go to that very first race, you got your new uniforms on, your new sponsors, and buddy, you got to be looking good. You got to be right, Andy. And as an ex-owner, you know that.
Well, you got your owner's hat on when you think like that. But I think like a crew chief, you can't win it unless you're in it. So I'm wanting to get in the race to win it, not just to please some sponsor. And well, that's important. You got to keep the program going. But I want to be in the race so we can have a chance to win.
Guy right now who has the best chance to win here is that guy in the 99 car. A week ago, we crowned him a NASCAR Busch Series champion. And here he's trying to win another race in the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series. Carl Edwards, our leader, 50 laps in the books.
Time now for the Sports Center Minute, powered by Vizio. I'm Pam Ward. It was a really tough day for the Minnesota Vikings. Not only did they lose to the Packers 34-0, but they also got their best player hurt. Adrian Peterson, coming off that incredible game last week, caught this pass in the third quarter, hurt his leg, limped off the field, and did not return. There's bound to be a new #1 team in the BCS standings when they are released, because Illinois, behind Juice Williams' 4 touchdown passes, beat Ohio State 28-21 yesterday. The new BCS standings will be revealed, and you can check them out 7 Eastern time coming up on Sports Center. This has been your Sports Center Minute, powered by Vizio.
Back at Phoenix, there will no doubt be a new #1 in the BCS standings after the Buckeyes of Ohio State upset yesterday by Illinois. There may be a new #1 in the NASCAR point standings if Jeff Gordon can indeed get it done here. Although Jimmy Johnson right now is ahead of Gordon. Johnson 3rd, Gordon 4th as they run on the racetrack. Carl Edwards has been the class of the field thus far today. He has led all 57 laps. Truex 2nd. There is Jimmy Johnson. You see Edwards now making his way up through the field. That is the 10 car of Patrick Carpentier. Making his first, he will make the final 2 starts of the year for Gillette Evernham, taking over for Scott Briggs. And Carpentier will be shown a lap down. He is currently being shown in 40th position as he gets passed by the leader. Now, what's going on with the setup? Jimmy Johnson's car obviously pretty good on this very demanding racetrack. Let's listen in to his radio.
Well, guys, that's kind of a tough problem to fix, but these car tomorrows, Andy, they roll over so much. If I was a driver, I'd say, you know what I want? I want a little wedge in that car to hold me tight getting at the corner, and I want the track bar up on the right side to keep the car from rolling over. So that's something that probably Chad Knaus was talking about. A couple different ways to fix this problem.
That just shows the difference between you as a driver and Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy really defers to Chad on this. He's just telling him what the car's doing at every point of the racetrack, and then Chad makes his decision what he's going to do to change it. A lot of drivers do what you do, Rusty. They just say, hey, they call for a change. Hey, do this track bar, do this air pressure. But these guys work a little different, and it works great for them.
How does the downforce really work here on a 1-mile racetrack? Well, we can show you with our draft tracks. It'll actually show you the downforce on the nose and the tail of these cars.
It really is. Downforce here is very important. We're running 160 miles an hour, so it's pretty important. You see right now, the green on the front and the back of the cars is showing as total downforce right now. But look, Jimmy gets behind Ryan Newman. He loses the downforce. He's got to figure out how to get that nose down a little bit. He can't pass right now. So see, he's ever so easily getting that nose down. He gets it down, gets the downforce back on the front of the nose, and is able to pull up alongside him and get down to turn 1 and make the pass.
And Andy, you can see the splitter on the 48 car in the front of the 48 car just glued to the racetrack, whereas the one on the 12 car probably had a couple, 3 inches between it and the pavement.
That's one of the things that Hendrick Motorsports does such a great job of, is getting this car of tomorrow down really low and keeping the front or the whole car from rolling over. I talked to some guys in the garage area. I said, man, what are those guys doing on that Hendrick team to do that? And they said, man, we sure like to know, because we're trying to find out too.
Let's go down there to Jamie Little.
Well, Doc, very unique situation here in NASCAR. The same team owner is battling for the championship against one of his other drivers. Of course, I'm talking about Rick Hendrick, and looking at Jimmie Johnson. He's standing here in his pit box, making the trek up and down pit road all day, watching Jeff Gordon and Jimmie Johnson duke it out. Now, Rick Hendrick this week said after last weekend's finish in Texas, he was ready to hit the panic button watching Jimmie Johnson race Matt Kenseth for the win. He said there's an awful lot at stake, and he stands there a little bit nervous watching his two drivers duke it out for this championship. Doc?
Rick Hendrick trying to win his 7th championship, and watching his two drivers that he thinks the world of. And I talked to Rick in the garage early in the weekend. Rick said, I remember back when I had two of my drivers wreck each other at Martinsville a few years ago when they were going for the title, and I just had to go find a van and lay down. He said it is nerve-wracking. 07 car. Remember, he took 2 tires to get himself in the top 10, and Mike Massaro, he's hanging in 7th spot.
Yeah, and that 2-tire move has allowed him to move from that 20th starting position to where he is right now, Doc. But the car, really not all that good. He says it's loose on entry, but tight everywhere else. The team has advised him to do a couple of things. 1, adjust his line, move up a half a groove where everybody else is running. And 2, adjust his brake bias. And for further explanation, we go to our Dish Tech Center and Tim Brewer.
Thanks, Mike. What they're literally talking about there, folks, I've got a knob on the dash. We preset the load on the brake bias, front and rear. What we normally do is about a 100-pound split front to rear, but when they're wanting to tighten the car up on entry, we literally turn the knob on the dash and we put more front brake in it. Therefore, the car will stop getting down in the middle of the corner and hold the car up a little bit, makes the car tight getting in the corner. Jerry?
Thank you, Tim. For more information on brakes, you can log on to ESPN.com. Search word Tech Center. 07, Clint Bowyer coming into the day 3rd in the points, 181 points back. And you see Clint there at work in the cockpit of the car. Watch a brake. You see the brake pedal come in here as he goes sailing down the straightaway.
Yeah, you use a lot of braking here. You're turning, a lot of RPM, and when you get to that corner, you got to slow this thing down because this track, you're not even close to running wide open through the corner, so it takes a lot of brake here.
This new car, too, this new whole dynamic with the high CG and less downforce has really put an emphasis on the brake system, and that brake balance is very, very critical.
Well, we saw yesterday in the Busch Series race, the front, as the tire changers are pulling the front tires off, a lot of brake dust on there. In fact, it was more than I've seen in a long time, so I'm pretty sure that these fellows here are very confident and working the brakes very hard, but the tire changers are going to be the ones struggling when they pull these tires off and get that dust in their face.
See, Martin Truex now has been working on this 99 for a long time. I would have thought that this one car would have just zoomed right by him on those 4 tires, but I guarantee these guys on pit road are paying attention to this 99 and how well it's working on 2 tires.
Oh, absolutely. They're really learning a lot right now. And I really thought that 4 tires was going to be a lot better than 2. But these cars roll so much, they work the right side pretty hard. So evidently this right side change is working okay for now.
Carl Edwards has been coming to Phoenix since 2004, but he had not led a lap until today. Folks, he's making up for it. He led 70 consecutive laps here at Phoenix, trying to hold on to get a win here at the Jewel of the Desert.
This is why I'm hot. This is why I'm hot. Hot 'cause I'm fly.
Coverage of Phoenix International Raceway brought to you by Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR, helping NASCAR drivers get to the finish line for over 50 years. You know, Phoenix International Raceway is a handful for drivers to drive with track about compromise, 2 completely different ends. Brad Daugherty, who've been most impressed with?
I think the guy out front, Carl Edwards, has been unbelievable. Even on the pit stops, when everyone came in and got 4 tires, he kept 2, and he's still been as much as a 10th quicker than everyone else in the field. He is driving his race car in the ground right now. I'm so impressed with how quick he is, the line he's holding. He looks dominant thus far.
You know, a lot of these drivers, even the drivers in the chase at this point, driving for pride in a coveted spot in that top 10 going to New York City at the end of the season.
Absolutely. 11 of the 13 top drivers right now are chase guys, so it shows the pride that these guys have, and that's the reason why they're in the chase, and they're all driving extremely hard.
A whole lot of different races going on within the race today as we get up to speed on our top 15 drivers.
You know, Susie, in the very first lap, Bob Osborne, the crew chief for Carl Edwards, came over the radio and told him, quote, just put it in cruise control. And that's basically what he's done. He sat out front the entire race, and all they've said to him over the radio was be smooth and keep it up front. That's exactly what he's been able to do so far. Jamie?
And they're telling Martin Truex Jr. right behind him the same thing. Just be smooth. Don't wear it out. Just watch what you're doing. They definitely believe they have a car capable of winning here today. Hey, and talk about that race within a race. They're 12th, actually tied for 11th in the points right now. They want to get in that top 10 so they can go to New York City and celebrate the year they've had with Martin Truex Jr. Behind him, one of 2 men of the race, Jimmy Johnson. We're watching his effort all day long. He's moved up to 3rd, started 6th. Last he said on the radio he was a little free into 3, but right now it's all about patience. Remember, it's the second half of the race where he charges for the win. Let's go to Dave.
Jeff Gordon's car was not good at the start of this run, but on lap 54, he passed Ryan Newman for 4th place. And 30 laps into this run, he said, hey, it's better, not bad. They think they can work with this car the way that it is, long into the run. Keep that note for later. 30 laps in, Jeff Gordon's very good. Jamie?
Ryan Newman behind him. It's all about track position, right? Well, on the last pit stop, Ryan Newman opted to take 2 tires, and that got him the track position. He started 12th, running 5th right now. This is the 7-year anniversary of Ryan Newman's entry in the Cup. Mike?
Coming into this race, Clint Boyer was ranked 3rd in the standings. I spoke with his crew chief, Gil Martin, this morning, asked him how they're going to approach it. He said, offensively, certainly not defensively. Not worried at all about the 5 cars behind them trying to crack the top 3. He says their concern right now, despite the fact that the 48 and 24 have apparently checked out in the standings, is to try to beat them. He realizes, though, he needs them to falter big time in order for them to capitalize and win this championship, but they have not given up hope just yet. Dave?
Well, Mike, you know when racing is the most fun, when you are passing race cars, and Matt Kenseth in the 17 has been doing that since the last restart. Restarted 18th all the way up to 8th. That loose-off race car was fixed with a track bar and air pressure adjustment. Yeehaw, Alan.
Well, Kurt Busch started the race in the 9th spot. He's running in 8th right now. He came on during the opening 25-lap run of the race and said, I've had worse cars, but this one's close. So they went to work on it on the stop. He says it's better in 1 and 2, but still needs more grip in 3 and 4. Hometown boy J.J. Yaley is running right behind Kurt Busch. Yaley running in 9th spot. He started 4th. Yaley, a Phoenix native, said when he comes to this racetrack, he feels like Jeff Gordon or Jimmy Johnson. The reception from the fans is a huge boost for him. Jamie?
Well, I talked to Jeff Burton, who's right behind him, talked to him this morning. He said they were just tickled by their qualifying effort. It was 12th, but they said that's a big gain for this COT effort. Now, Jeff Burton has been on a roll after starting off the chase with 2 DNFs. He's gained 5 positions in the last 5 races. Their goal now, they're 7th in points. They want to get in the top 5. Alan?
Tony Stewart started back in 21st spot, ran up as high as 9th place. Now he slipped back a couple of spots, and he is running now in 10th and 11th positions as he is fighting there with Jeff Burton for that spot. Tony Stewart's car needed back-end grip this morning. They went to work on that. Now he says the front end is sliding in both ends of the racetrack. Mike?
And Alan, Denny Hamlin started 15th and has made moderate progress, moved up toward the top 10, ranked 12th right now, but he says his main complaint, they're tight middle, loose off, and looking for front grip. Doesn't have it right now, and that seems to be a pretty common problem. Kyle Busch complaining about the same thing, looking for front grip, doesn't have it, but it doesn't seem to be holding him up much. He started 38th and has made a spirited charge to the 13th spot. And meanwhile, you know, you've got a guy who might play the underdog role today, perhaps the Cinderella story, and that's Johnny Sauter in the 70 car. But don't call him that. That team doesn't like to consider themselves underdogs. In fact, they point to the fact that they've got all the resources that Hendrick Motorsports have and believe they should perform at the same level. Right now, they're contending for a top 10 position. Jamie?
And Greg Biffle rounds out our top 15. Greg Biffle, can the guy get a break here in Phoenix? He has finished 25th
Thank you very much, guys. Caution for the second time of day. Lap 86. Debris between turns 1 and 2, and that will slow them down and bring these guys on the pit road. How about the 99 car hanging on?
Half out of the rears and see where it goes.
Remember, he only changed 2 tires in that one previous stop.
Well, he'll get 4 this time because he's going to need almost a full tank of fuel. Most of these guys will take 4 tires for that reason. It takes a good little while to get 2 cans of fuel in these cars, so you might as well be putting tires on while you're doing it.
And you heard Bob Osborne talking about taking a little bit of air pressure out of the back of Carl Edwards' car, his tires, to try to gain more grip on that last radio communications we just heard. So we'll see what happens there. But one big surprise to me is these cars ran so good on 2 tires. I never thought they would have done that, Andy.
Well, I didn't either. It kind of caught me by surprise. But these guys will come in here and get 4, I'm sure, this time.
45, Kyle Petty will get the free pass, be back on the lead lap. Here come the leaders down pit road at 45 miles per hour. Alan Bestwick.
Well, Kurt Busch will be one of the first of the leaders to hit his pit stall. Watch for the wrench to go in that hole in the right rear side of the window for the track bar. They're going to raise that up 2 rounds. Also put a 4 tire change. Watch the car in the upper left of the box. Dave?
Track bar adjustment and air pressure adjustment for Jeff Gordon. They got some things fixed. This stop, let's work on drive off. Jamie?
And Jimmy Johnson said he's a little free into 3. He's tight in the center and free off, all in turn 3. A lot going on there, but otherwise, Jimmy Johnson thrilled with the car. It's going to be a 4-tire stop, and he's out 14.6. Mike.
Carl Edwards wanted his car tightened up. They waved off a chassis adjustment and elected just to do an air pressure adjustment at 4 tires.
Pit stops are complete. Truex will become the leader by virtue of gaining a spot off of pit road. We'll be back for the restart and more NASCAR Nextel Cup action after these messages and a word from our ABC stations. Green flag waves back at Phoenix International Raceway, and Martin Truex Jr., by virtue of a great pit stop and making the win in the race off of pit road, leads him into turn 1 as just the second leader here at Phoenix today.
But guys, right now one of the big races going on is that Robbie Gordon in the 7 car is racing Eric Almirola to try to get the lucky dog position. And you got the champions right alongside this battle that's getting ready to take place between these two. That's got to be a nerve-wracking thing to have happen right now.
Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson are going to tiptoe their way around these lap cars, and I'm sure Jeff Gordon's trying to get he's leaving a little gap here just in case there's any funny business, but that 7 car's been racing real hard to try to be that first car lap down.
Well, he really has, Robbie. You saw Kyle Petty and him racing really hard earlier, and Kyle did get the lucky dog that last time, so it worked out for Kyle, but right now it's Robbie Gordon trying to get that position. How
about this 01 of Eric Almirola? He is really racing this 99 car, Carl Edwards, hard.
And we know why that's happening. It's because he's trying to get in that position. The 01 car of Eric Almirola, again, is racing the 7 car, Robbie Gordon, for that spot, that coveted spot right now.
It looks like the 01's almost as good, if not better than the 99. Makes you wonder how he got a lap down to start with.
Eric Almirola's very first run here in a NASCAR Nextel Cup car. And boy, almost sliding up into the 99 there as Edwards trying to hang on. He's getting these guys. Here is Jimmy Johnson now trying to go around Almirola. And I'm sure Jimmy saw the 01 slide up a moment ago, too. So I don't know if I want to be on the outside of that car or not.
That's exactly what he's doing right there. You saw how he backed off to pull in behind that 01. He didn't want to get on the outside of him with that thing locking up that front wheel and maybe sliding into him.
Meanwhile, Jeff Gordon is locked in a hornet's nest back there on the inside with the lap car of Robbie Gordon up high. Let's listen in.
I think some of the reason the front end push is but I put a little air in that right front just to get you down in the corner. I left it. And I'm going to try to get you some security in the back, and if we get it too tight, I'm going to come off it. But it's just obvious when you have that security getting in, man, you run way better laps, especially lap time. So I'm going to try to leave that for you, you know what I mean?
What he's talking about there is you put a little extra air in that right front. It'll actually take a little grip away from that front tire, but it does help the rear tires grip a little better. So what Steve's saying, I'm going to give you that security, and if it's too tight later, we'll take it back out, but we'll leave it in for now.
Yeah, what that does when you drive down in the corner as a driver, the right front feels like it's falling on the ground a little bit, and the back of the car comes up, but when you put air in that right front, it pops that right front up, makes you get in the corner deeper, and that's a lot better feel.
For more information on crew communications, you can log on to ESPN.com. The search word communications. Moving in on 100 laps, 5 laps away. Had 2 leaders thus far. If you just joined our coverage, Carl Edwards, a pole sitter, led the first 87 laps. And Martin Truex Jr., by virtue of a great effort on pit road, has led the last 9 consecutive. Oh, trouble!
Check up. He's up top.
Joe Nemechek.
Down bottom.
78 car of Joe Nemechek spins around. We'll bring out caution for the third time today.
And it looks like Joe's car is okay. He's got a little bit of quarter panel damage on the left rear.
Who hit me?
Yeah, he said somebody hit him. You can see the damage on the left rear where somebody probably got into the left rear corner.
The team ought to be able to fix that. They can probably bang that around with some sludge hammers or something, get that flattened out. But right now he's concerned.
That metal bent back around with the 4 tires and gas. You still too?
He's concerned who hit him. Probably mad at that guy for sure. Who is it? Tony Stewart. Looks like he got him a little tap in the left rear quarter panel, and Joe goes around, does a good job not hitting the wall.
Tony Stewart, Nemechek back in 15th position. Let's see, watch it again here. Here's Stewart on the bottom of the racetrack.
And you can see that Tony just really gunned it right in the center of the corner, trying to pick up some speed. And the 78 car, Joe Nemechek, was just coming down in his normal line across the front of him, and they both got together.
Nemechek on pit road. By the way, it was noted last week he signed a 3-year contract to drive this 78 car for years to come. Under caution for the third time a day. Back in just a moment. Back at Phoenix International Raceway, caution number 3 on the day, coming out lap 96. Joe Nemechek, a little contact with a 20 car, Tony Stewart. Nemechek's car spun around and he got it going again. There's the 1 car. Martin Truex Jr. is the leader. Edwards in second spot. Here's the 6 car. Look at David Reagan. Look at the splitter, or what's left of the splitter in the front of that car.
Oh man, he cut through that.
Gone.
That was a heck of a deal in the back straightaway. I mean, take a look at this, guys. Here he is coming through the dog leg, coming off of turn 2. They're getting 2 and 3 wide. Watch his car now. He clips it. And look at, wow, we're talking 4-wheel driving through there now. And he tore that.
He got some air right there.
He tore that splitter up big time, and that's going to hurt the downforce.
What do they say? Next game's big air. He got some big air.
He got some right there. Check it out right here.
Oh, headed right toward our camera. Oh, look out. Here he comes.
Well, check that out on your 61-inch big screen television at home, folks. Now, that was a heck of a shot there.
Oh, my gosh.
In high definition. Oh, that hurts.
Those cameras don't cost too much, do they?
You ever cut the corner that close here on the dog leg?
I've went through there, but never got any air like he did. I mean, he just won the world record there.
David Reagan, by the way, still on the lead lap. And there's actually he's being shown a lap down now, back in the 40th position. They thought those splitters were bulletproof. Let's go down to our Chevy cutaway car and Tim Brewer.
You're exactly right, Jerry. The thing is bulletproof, folks. These are 357 Magnum holes. This is a thermoplastic. It's made by Milliken Company. It's called Tegris. This stuff is literally bulletproof, but occasionally we didn't say it was race car proof. You hit those cameras, those $20,000 cameras. I'm sure Mr. Feinberg, he's not going to have a good day with that. Jerry?
These cars are pretty tough. Thank you, Tim. Green flag waves for Martin Truex Jr. See if Carl Edwards now can get up there. Oh, by the way, a moment ago, the yellow flag came out. The free pass did go to the 0-1 of Eric Almirola. Remember, he was driving so hard to hang on, and it paid off.
Did pay off for him. Now the 7 car, Robbie Gordon's going to try to race these guys and see if he can be the next one to get it. How about this race for the lead?
Carl Edwards is going to try to race the 1 car for the lead.
Well, the good thing about this, they do have Robbie Gordon behind him right now where they can go up and race. You see Jimmy Johnson sitting there in a 3rd position right now. He's had a pretty solid car throughout the day. But the 2 fastest cars have been definitely Martin Truex and the 99 car, Carl Edwards.
How about that outside lane over there coming in? That's good to see. We haven't seen him run quite that high, but it worked great for the 1 car, Martin Truex.
Well, you're exactly right, Andy. We have not seen the cars run this high in the racetrack for a long time. That's one thing that the new car tomorrows are able to do. They do use up more track because they slide around more. You see the 24 car kind of boxed in behind Ryan Newman and Kurt Busch, the 2 teammates. And you know, we've talked about these 2 champion drivers for a long time, the 48 car and the 24, Jeff Gordon. You know, guys, there's many races they have not had the fastest race cars, but it seems like they're always end up higher in the field than most. A little smarter drivers, maybe, a little smarter teams. I don't know.
Jeff Gordon looking across at Gordon from Kurt Busch's onboard camera. Again, Gordon being shown in 6th position. Busch is 5th, but Gordon is going to try to take that spot away if he can hang on the inside. Can't quite get there.
Guys, this is the first time all day long we've actually seen Martin Truex, as we're looking at the front of Jeff Gordon's car here. Martin Truex out front by himself. And Andy, look at the speeds. He's about 2.5 tenths faster than the second place car, Jimmy Johnson. So Truex is flat flying right now.
He's got that clean air. Jeff Gordon's trying to fight by these guys in all this dirty air and all these guys locking up these tires, these front tires. I can't get used to this smoke when they go in the corner and they lock these tires up. You know, you think something's wrong.
Now watch a 2 and 24 here. Busch in the 2 car. Whoa, almost out of shape in a 24, getting on the inside. Oh, it nearly came together. Almost got that right rear fender. 99 on pit road. Mike.
And big problems for the 99 in Carl Edwards. He just came over the radio moments ago and said, quote, "We're blowing up. We can't go another 2 laps. They're coming down pit road now. Looks like they're going behind the wall, Doc."
Wow, Carl Edwards, who sat on the pole for the first time this year, led the first 87 laps and looked to be challenging to retake the lead.
Jason. 3, 2, 1, stop on the sign.
Well, that's a heartbreaker right there. This early in the race and have an engine problem.
Check for plug wires popping off.
They're just going to try to find something they can fix quick, hopefully, and it'll be something they can get out there and get going again, but it doesn't look good. Caution's coming out.
Yellow's out debris.
Debris on the back straightaway, so off a couple of cars that had come together.
The gauges look normal, Bob.
That'll be a bit of a break, if there is such a thing as a break right now for Carl Edwards, and slowing the field down.
I don't think there's going to be a break that'll help them much here if they've got this engine missing and not able to find what's wrong.
Yeah, but Andy, I really wonder why they came down pit road with the engine still running, the thing's still making power. We heard it running there.
Behind the wall, bud.
Well, he felt something that he knows is probably terminal here with this engine. They're going behind the wall to look at it.
Yeah, that's the tough part, because he's still driving it, so you'd think he'd stay going all he possibly could.
And by the way, while you see the 99 car is going to go around and come back behind the wall, the 7 car, Robbie Gordon's efforts paid off because he was able to hang up there in the first car a lap down. He will get the free pass and go back on the lead lap. Now there are 29 cars on the lead lap here at Phoenix. 108 laps in the books of 312. Martin Truex Jr. is our leader. There's Jimmy Johnson back in second and Jeff Gordon in fourth.
ESPN's coverage of NASCAR Nextel Cup Series on ABC. Brought to you by Toyota, moving forward. Aflac, ask about it at work. And Gillette Fusion Power, the best shave ever.
Back at Phoenix International Raceway here in Avondale, Arizona. Glad to have you with us under caution for the 4th time today. Lap 107, debris on the racetrack, and just before the debris caution, Carl Edwards, who had led the first 87 laps, came on the pit road with an internal issue in the engine and taken this car to the garage area there. And remember, folks, only the top 10 that finish in the points get to go to New York and be a part of the ceremony there at the Waldorf. And right now he's in jeopardy of falling out of the top 10. Edwards in 9th position, having lost 4 spots in the points today.
What we have right here is the top 16 cars stayed out under that caution. The rest of the guys came in and got tires, so it's going to be some haves and have-nots out there.
You'll see the top of the screen, the chase ticker. You see Carl Edwards points minus 483. He's right now in 9th. And behind him would be the 1 car, who is our leader, Martin Truex. So not a good sign for Carl Edwards to try to hang in the top 10, at least after this race today. Speaking of Carl Edwards, Alan Bestwick is with him.
How heartbroken are you?
Man, that's a hard one to swallow, but just gotta thank my guys for giving me such a great car. I mean, that's a race-winning car right there. I was just cruising around, having fun, and just say thanks to all my fans for all their support. It's been a wild end of the season. Hopefully we can go to Homestead and have just as good a car. But I think Martin's real good. I think him and Jimmy are going to have a good race. So it's too bad for my guys, man. It's frustrating.
I know they've just started to take it apart. Any early diagnosis?
It's something important, like Schrader says. It was something that we needed. It's shaking real bad and not going as fast as it was. So I assume it's something probably in the the valve train or something. But Roush Yates guys have been doing a great job. And just once again, thanks to all my fans for your support. And you know, they knew we were here today.
frustrating is that for Carl Edwards, and how frustrating is this for Jeff Gordon? The 2-car, and Gordon again going at it.
You see how these guys are driving hard down in the corner when they're racing real hard with each other. They go in there and you see that smoke, and it's all that splitter rubbing the racetrack and then causing those front tires to lose a little bit of grip. Some of it is the actual splitter rubbing the racetrack. The others are the tires sliding on the racetrack.
Well, we've seen that smoke in almost all these car tomorrow races. We really have throughout the year, Andy. Hey, take a look at 07-car Clint Boyer. He's really working the bottom side of this track. It looks like he's got his car handling better right now.
Well, he got 2 tires in that first pit stop. Now he's got 4 fresh tires on here. He did at least on the last stop. The guys he's around, he's pretty even with.
Clint Boyer being shown in the 6th position. Right behind him is his teammate Jeff Burton, the 31 car. Folks, we just joined our coverage on the first pit stop. Larry Hartle, who is the gas man for Jeff Burton, was hit by a tire, injured his knee, and we are being told he's been taken to another facility for further evaluation. Again, he's without his primary gas man. Burton, though, running awfully well. Remember, he qualified extremely well here, had a great car in happy hour. Burton, a 2-time winner here at Phoenix in Cup competition. Jeff Gordon, 24 car, looking to make the move beneath Kurt Busch for 4th spot.
Where every single pit stop, these guys just making some small adjustments on that 24 car. Car's handled pretty good for him today. He's got a solid car, just needs to keep tuning on it. He is definitely not out to lunch.
More on Jeff Gordon with Dave.
Well, guys, as he races hard with Kurt Busch and with Clint Boyer, the good news, and Rusty, you'd appreciate this, is the security of the car going into the corner. You mentioned diving down into the corner and having that car there for you. That's the one thing, as now Boyer looks to the inside in turn 3. That's the one thing that Jeff wanted them to keep for sure. It's pretty good in, pretty good off. It's just that middle portion that's bugging him right now, but he can dive it into the corner if he has to.
Well, sometimes, you know, you got to pick what's more important. Do you want the car to turn better off the corner, be better in the center? But right now, Jeff's got to have that security going at the corner, and that's what's making him run fast now.
All trouble on the backstretch. The 1 car sprinting is the 8 car. Oh, Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Boy, big damage on the right front right there. The splitters broke off underneath there. Right front fender beat in it.
Yeah, he's got some damage with the suspension. The right front wheel's aiming the wrong way. He's hit that wall, that inside wall, pretty hard, looks like.
A lot of times you can tell if these guys can fix it. They can't fix this one to get it competitive again this quick.
Show you what happened to Earnhardt Jr. now coming up off the corner. There he is getting sideways.
Yeah, he just flat got loose on the exit of turn 2. And let's take a look at this, see where he ends up here. Right front, no damage on the right front quite yet, guys. Nothing happening yet. Oh, the inside wall. Oh, big hit. Right rear quarter panel, right front. And that's pretty well ruined his day for the rest of the day. Just can't fix a car that's damaged that bad to get it back in competition.
This year probably can't end soon enough for Dale Earnhardt Jr. It has been a 60-race winless streak. It'll be 61 as of today. One chance at Homestead next week for him to be able to continue that string of wins.
Oh, check this out here, guys. We got some of these leaders coming in, and some of them stayed out.
Well, this is a big surprise right here. I mean, they have really mixed it up right now. Who's in the pit and who's not?
Let's go down to Dave Burns.
Well, where they are on pit road, crew chief Steve Letarte did have a chance to see who was ducking and who wasn't. The call was pit. Remember, this car is not good in the center of the corner. That's what they'll try to work on with little air pressure adjustment. They'll change the air pressure in at least one of these tires to make it handle differently for Jeff. This will take him out of sequence. He will finish up the stop and head back out, guys.
13.5 seconds for Jeff Gordon. He's been on and off pit roads, and Jimmy Johnson and Truex stayed on the racetrack. Back with more after these messages and a word from our ABC stations.
Back with the duel in the desert, the second to last race in the chase for the Nextel Cup. The story in the Pepsi race rundown. And pole sitter Carl Edwards off to such a solid start. First time that Carl has ever led a race at Phoenix. He led the first 87 laps, but Carl, like the next 7 drivers following him, eliminated from chase contention as soon as Jimmy Johnson, the points leader, started the race. And that's the story of the chase. Teammates Johnson and Jeff Gordon came in separated by just 30 points. They can't play it safe, and Gordon was the first one to take a chance.
Yeah, he struck first. Jeff comes in. He's going to try to get some fresh tires on that car. He's trying to advance his position. He needs to lead some laps today in order to get those 5 bonus points. So he has to come in. He's leading the charge first.
And then heartbreaking for Carl Edwards on lap 106. Carl said it was just blowing up, and he is out.
He had a prolific hot rod today. He was absolutely flying. Carl probably had the best car of the season. Unfortunately, he has a little bit of engine trouble.
And that just goes to happen. It can happen to anyone at any time, like right here with Dale Earnhardt Jr., his 9th DNF in 2007.
He didn't have bad luck. He wouldn't have any luck at all, Susie. It's just too bad. Tough season for Earnhardt Jr.
Doc, so many storylines to face. The championship, top 10 going to New York City, top 35 for next year.
Susie and Brad, different strategies now. Remember, the top 9 guys have not pitted since lap 88. Jeff Gordon came on the pit road, as did Jeff Burton, Strimmy, Montoya, Biffle, Almirola, and Hamlin. So a little roll of the dice here, Andy.
I think this is a great move by Steve Letarte to go ahead and get his guy in there, get some tires on here, and then he can stay out when these guys make their next pit stop.
Well, let's talk to him and see why he did what he did. Dave Burns.
In with him right now, Doc. Steve, why did you guys make the call to come in at this time?
Well, I just don't agree with those leaders staying out in the fuel window. Once you get about 30 or 35 laps in the fuel well, you're about 30 or 40% of the way into a run. I'd rather come in. We need to work on our car anyway, so we need to make some stuff happen. Getting off sequence might be the best thing that can happen for us.
Can you see the other guys ducking or not ducking on pit road, and did you base any of your decision on that?
No, I'm not worried about what the leaders do. We just got to race our race. We're either going to have a good enough car to make something happen or not.
24 on their plan, guys.
Andy, I asked you at the top of the show, these 2 guys in the same camp, the same equipment. How does one guy gain an edge? There you go.
This is how they do it. You just got to roll the dice on the strategy. I think it's a great move by Steve Letarte. It may work out, it may not, but hey, if you just keep doing the same things, you get the same results. So, hey, my hat's off to him.
Latest caution flag to spin by Dale Earnhardt Jr. He's standing by with Alan Bestwick.
And he has come from the Infield Care Center. Junior, you look like you had your hands full out there. Tell us what happened.
I just lost it off of 2 there. I don't know. I guess we were struggling handling-wise, but we weren't too bad. We were kind of gaining on it and just come around.
Thanks. Sorry, you're out.
Not much more you can say than that, guys.
How far to my right rear did it get? He's got right fender.
Jeff Gordon's radio, the 24 car, back in heavy traffic, mired back because of that pit stop.
This is the risky part of this move, is he's got to race a lot of cars.
Yeah, real close to top. 10-4.
We've already shown you how aggressive Juan Pablo Montoya has been today. We saw a little contact with Earnhardt Jr. earlier. Let's show you what happened a moment ago here back in this gaggle of cars, the 42 and the 24.
You see the 2 get together right there. The 42 car was just up on the outside of Jeff Gordon.
And guys, this is a risky thing. For him to get back in all this traffic, look at his 3 wide. Here's a championship contender bouncing off these guys just because he's trying to do some different strategy. Now that could have been a bad crash right there.
We heard him talking about his spotter, right, or talking to his spotter. Was I clear? Was he on my right rear? The problem is the spotters are in the middle of 1 and 2. They can't hardly see that angle there.
Jeff Gordon backed up a little bit there. Oh, a little bit of a jam in front of the 70 car. Sauter, the 42 of Montoya, has to slow down. And if you're Jeff Gordon, Rusty, you're tiptoeing right now back there among all these cars.
Well, he's tiptoeing a little bit, but the guys that he's racing with, they're probably nervous racing with him, knowing that he's a championship contender and they've got to run their race, and they don't want to take him out while all this is going on also. A little nervous for everybody right now.
And if I'm a crew chief, I'm saying you got to get out of this mess. You got to somehow get by some of these guys. You got a rookie running his first Cup race in Almirola back there. You got to get by. That's Almirola in the 0-1 right in front of him. Well, one of the stories of the weekend here at Phoenix has been the efforts of Kyle Busch, the young 22-year-old driver. There's Kyle just sailing by in the 5 car. He won the truck race Friday night. He won the Busch race here in dominant fashion on Saturday. He started back in 38th position, and right now he's being shown 5th.
Oh, boy, he has got a great handle on car. He's worked himself right through that traffic with not a whole lot of assistance from anything else except just hard driving. You know, he won the truck race, like you said, Jerry. He's got a lot of experience this week, the team does, with air pressures, the way the cars are handled. That Busch race yesterday, man, he is not scared of nothing right now, Andy. He is really getting it.
And he's got the advantage here now of having some clean racetrack to run in with some of these guys off sequence on these pit stops. He's got a good track position. He can start working on these guys.
Martin Truex, who won with a Car of Tomorrow effort up in Dover at the beginning of the year. This is the 16th and final Car of Tomorrow race of 2007. Truex Jr. the leader. You're watching ESPN on ABC. Welcome back to the Checker Auto Parts 500. Heavy contact in the back straightaway. Jacques Villeneuve. Bill Davis Racing Toyota. One of the open-wheeled hot shoes, former Indy 500 winners, one of 3 in the field today, and he's had trouble, damage on the front and rear of his car.
Sir, I was paying attention to the one inside. I never saw the one on the outside.
He got together with somebody off turn 2. Like one of the Evernham Dodges, maybe he got together with.
Yeah, that exit of turn 2. I mean, that wall comes at you pretty quick, and there he was. There's Casey Keenan outside. Looks like he didn't see Casey. Pinched Casey in the wall, and Casey got his right rear quarter panel. Ooh, big wreck right there, guys. And what about Kane?
Yeah, Casey got some damage here too.
Yeah, but look how tough that car is again, Andy. It didn't tear it up like I thought it would.
Leaders on pit road down at 45 miles an hour. Alan Bestwick.
And Kurt Busch pits from fourth position. They're going to change the track bar 2 rounds down and make a 4-tire change here on the deuce.
And Jimmy Johnson making his way down pit road. We heard on the radio just a few moments ago, he said he needs to roll through the center better on both ends, so they're going to raise that pan-hard bar. That's something you hear from them quite a bit. We heard it in practice yesterday. 4 tires, and he's down and away. Mike?
Kyle Busch saying his car is pretty good, just a little bit tight, could use some more grip, but no adjustment, just 4 tires and fuel.
Working caution for the 6th time. Here come those leaders that finally have come on the pit road. Many of these cars had not pitted since lap 88. And there you see the big gainer there was Harvick up 3 spots, Bowyer up once, Kyle Busch back 2 positions. And of course, a number of the cars that just pitted out of sequence did not have to come on pit road. We'll reset the field when we come back. Back at Phoenix International Raceway, aerial coverage courtesy of our good friends at Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR, helping drivers get to the finish line for over 50 years. Under caution for the 6th time, the top 9 drivers did not pit, including this guy. Jeff Gordon now being shown in 4th position. Matt Kenseth is our leader. He hasn't pitted since lap 110. Then David Strimmy, Jeff Burton, Jeff Gordon, Greg Biffle, Montoya, Sorensen, Robbie Gordon. Those cars, of course, did not pit. I'll show you while we are under caution, the 27 car, former Indy 500 winner and Formula 1 world champion, Jacques Villeneuve. Bit of a crunch there in the backstretch with the 9 car of Casey Kane.
Yeah, we'll have to follow Casey Kane's story and see how that's working out, because Casey got a lot of damage on the left front of the 9 car with that accident.
And let's update you on our AT&T Crew Chief Challenge question. We asked you earlier today which open-wheel driver will have the highest finish today. Of course, the votes were already in before Villeneuve had the issue there, and you voted for Juan Pablo Montoya by an overwhelming 74%.
I would have done that too. He's been out there longer than the rest of these guys, a lot more experience right now in these stock cars.
And he may be responsible for a lot of this open-wheel drivers coming into NASCAR. He's come in and not only had some success, but he certainly set the bar quite a bit higher than a lot of people anticipated.
Yeah, he just knocked that door wide open for these guys to come in here.
Green flag waves, and Kenseth will lead him down into turn 1. By the way, you Casey Kane fans, despite the contact with the 27 a moment ago, Kane in the 9 car is still on the lead lap. We have 30 cars on the lead lap.
And right now, David Gilliland trying to go for that lucky dog, trying to get underneath Matt Kenseth. And Matt's got some older tires in that car, probably not as much grip as the rest of these guys.
You saw Carl Edwards coming back on the racetrack. Remember, Edwards had the issue on lap 106, thought it was an engine going away, has been in the garage area, and will now come back on the racetrack here on lap 144. Let's go down where Alan Bestwick is caught up with Jacques Villeneuve,
who has just come from the infield care center. First, Jacques, what happened?
I knew I had someone on the inside, I was being told, so I was paying attention to the guy on the inside, and just when I was told someone on the outside, I was already running against the wall and got clipped, so too bad. I'm not sure who I clipped, but so I just didn't know he was there.
Thoughts on your first Phoenix race in a stock car?
Well, it was tough early on. The car was very tight and we couldn't run it. Then we fixed it in the pit stops, and then it was running okay, but by then we were at the back.
Thank you.
Jacques Villeneuve, popular open-wheel driver, former world champion here in NASCAR racing. How about the one car of Truex all the way on the bottom of the racetrack underneath the 78 of Nemechek?
Boy, that 48 car is caught in a pickle right here.
Boy, they're 3 wide right in front of Jimmy Johnson there. The 42 car, Montoya and Johnson trying to get around this mess.
Well, it looks like Johnson's just going to clear the 78 car. Joe Nemechek get in front of him right now, because that was a tough position he was in. Boy, 3 wide on outside. A chase leader, you don't want that to happen, because right now, Jeff Gordon doing what he did. He's within 11 points of Jimmy Johnson right now.
9 car, we told you that he was hanging on a lead lap, not anymore. Casey Kane, heavy contact with his Dodge in the wall.
Probably had some damage from that contact and maybe lost a tire because of a tire rub. Boy, he's tore this thing up big time now.
All right, Jeff Gordon did not pit along with 8 others, 7 others, or 8 cars that didn't pit on the last time, and Gordon was holding into 3rd position, just 11 points now behind Jimmy Johnson. What do you do?
Well, I mean, he's kind of made this little this deal here. He needs to probably see it through. I don't think he needs to pit here. Maybe just stay out until the next one, but it's a tough little deal they're into.
Well, he's only got 27 laps on his tires right now, so he's probably going to stay out like you said. You know, we saw what Carl Edwards did early, 22 laps in his tires. He did right sides only, so a lot of different strategy.
Watch Casey Kane. Oh, the car just snapped.
Yeah, he just came off of turn 4 and his flat lost it right there. And Andy, I'm not for sure that had anything to do with the accident.
I don't think it did either. I think he just got sideways and was out of the groove, kind of overcorrected and got in the fence.
Well, he got the outside wall, the inside wall, and his day is over for that thing. The right front, look at the right front tire, and that looks like a lot of suspension damage. Way high in the track here. Look at this.
Oh, heavy.
Boy, when that rear end caught and that right front came around, he went head on in that wall.
Caution number 7 on the day, and folks, we're just 148 laps into it here at Phoenix. Casey Kane running back toward the garage area.
ESPN's coverage of NASCAR Nextel Cup Series on ABC. Brought to you by Pennzoil Platinum. Full synthetic motor oil with adaptive molecules. Aflac. Ask about it at work. And Coca-Cola. Thanks for drinking.
Sold out house here at Phoenix International Raceway, and they have not been disappointed. 7 caution flags in the first 151 laps. The latest, Casey Kane, a hard lick for Casey. He's with our Jamie Little.
Well, he jumped out of the car and we caught up with him. He's walking himself to the medical center. Obviously looks okay. Casey, what happened?
I finally crashed. I drove like an idiot all day and finally wrecked. It was we were slow. We were way off the pace. We sucked, and I finally finished it off for us.
So how many different contacts did you have? I know 2 for sure.
Plenty. I think I hit plenty of cars, plenty of walls. Just wasn't a good day for us. So.
Was it driver error, the COT?
Well, our COT wasn't very good, but other people's are. But ours wasn't very good, and then that there was driver error. Some of the other ones were just racing, and but yeah, we only got 1 week left, so I'm happy about that.
All right, guys. Casey Kane, 6 DNF this year. Dave Burns?
And Jamie, Robbie Reiser is a crew chief for Matt Kenseth, who now leads this race for staying out. But you guys pitted on lap 109, Robbie. Why was that? That was kind of out of sequence with everybody else.
We just had a miscommunication. I was talking to Matt, and we're talking about 2 tires, and it never had a chance to really say stay out or anything, and we just talked over each other, and he came down pit road. So just trying to get back.
And when most of the leaders
just depends on when the cautions fall, just like any other race.
All right, thanks, Robbie. It's sometimes it works out, guys, that way. Now everyone's kind of back up where they are.
Some of my best decisions have been by accident. I tell you, it's worked out that way lots of times.
Let's take a look at our All-State Good Hands move of the race, and a great effort by Kyle Petty in the Dodge. Now watch Kyle. Talk about being on top of the wheel. Watch the contact by Casey Kane. You can't see much, and Kyle just avoid the dodge of Kane coming across. On behalf of Kyle Petty, Allstate will donate $1,000 to the Urban Youth Racing School.
Yeah, that looks a little more dramatic from this angle. He had to drive through quite a bit of stuff to miss that car.
Boy, Kyle's done a great job all day long here. Raced so hard early, getting that lucky dog, and he got it. And boy, missed that wreck too. It's Kyle Petty's day so far.
Remember, he's trying to stay in the top 35 in owners points right now. He's 34, just 23 points ahead of the 22 car of Bill Davis and Dave Blaney. So that move might have just saved a top 35 finish for the 2007 season.
Sometimes it takes a little luck.
Chevy pace car, onboard camera. Brett Bodine, former NASCAR Nextel Cup veteran, drives the Chevy pace car. And that pace car, as well as the car tomorrow, also has the rear wing on the back.
That's something else. I've never seen the pace car in a long time with the rear wing bolted on the back of it, just like the real race cars. That's pretty cool.
Remember, the leader is Matt Kenseth. He has not pitted since lap 110. Behind him is Strimmy, Jeff Gordon, Jeff Burton, Greg Biffle in the top 5. None of those cars have been in since lap 121. We'll come down and click off lap 154 this time by.
A close call for Jeff Gordon right there. I know we saw the 40 car Strimmy sideways, but that could have caught Jeff up in it easily.
David Strimmy in second position. Gordon right behind him. He was certainly in a bad position if those cars get sideways. There's David Reagan, the 6 car. Reagan being shown 1 lap down. He is the first car a lap down, and he would be the one that would get the free pass if the yellow would come out. That's why he's trying to hang there.
And you know, we saw him, the team really worked on the left front splitter of David Reagan because of the problem earlier. Looks like they've got that fixed and back on David's car. But right now, I'm pretty impressed with what's going on with David Strimmy and Jeff Gordon. They got the same amount of time on their tires and fuel. Boy, Strummy's doing a good job running up there in second position right now, guys.
Yeah, we had a close call right there. Jeff Gordon needs to get up here and try to get by these 2 guys if he's going to make this little strategy deal work out for him.
Halfway home here, lap 156 of 312, and there is Strimmy in the Ganassi Sabatas car. About 4 car lengths, and Jeff Gordon pedaling for all he is worth to be able to try to get up there and lead a lap. Let's check in with Alan.
A couple things on David Strimmy in that yellow 40 car, Doc. First of all, auditioning. Remember, David Strimmy does not have a Nextel Cup Series full-time ride for next season. He does have some Busch Series work with a certain team owner that's working up in our booth there, but he does not have a Nextel Cup ride for next year. This is an audition for him. He started 37th. They've used this strategy to try and get him track position. They want a long green flag run so that everybody pits together the next time and they keep this track position. Dave?
And Alan, it's a great point. Notice right behind him in 3rd place, Jeff Gordon, back up to the front of the field. Remember, he pitted out of sequence and got back up here when other guys pitted. Jeff was quoted this week as saying, with this race car, the COT he means, at this racetrack, unless you're really proud of something good, it's hard to come up through the field, end of quote. And that means you've got to stay in your track position or at least hope that luck's on your side and you can get it back if you're on a different sequence.
That's a great point, guys. And, you know, by the way, Jeff Gordon and Strimmy both pitted at the same time, but in front of them, Matt Kenseth actually pitted 11 laps earlier. So if we stay green, Kenseth is going to have to pit, and Gordon would be able to get those points for leading a lap.
I think he might be able to run him down and pass him before he has to make that pit stop. See him dive in the corner there and lock up the front tires. You can tell how hard he's driving the car right here.
Yeah, there was a lot of smoke off the right front splitter that time. And boy, take a look at the 48 car now. Jimmy Johnson, he's coming on strong. He's in the 3rd position. Actually, the 4th position right now. Lap times are looking good on him.
Okay, who's going to get there first? Is it going to be the 24 or the 48?
Well, the 48's got fresher tires on it right now, that's for sure. So
the race is on.
You were saying earlier, I'd rather have fresh tires, that's for sure. So, and I would too. He just got to drive hard right now, get up there and get more points.
Top of your screen, chase points. Carl Edwards now back on the racetrack, by the way. Has moved. He was back in jeopardy of falling out of the top 10. He's now back up in 8th position. By the way, in the points, I should say, Carl Edwards on the racetrack is 38 laps down in 42nd spot. They're chasing Matt Kenseth, and Kenseth last pitted on lap 110. We are working lap 161. He will have to pit. In close pursuit, Jeff Gordon, David Strimmy, and Jimmy Johnson, with Greg Biffle rounding out the top 5.
Time for a SportsCenter Minute powered by Vizio. I am Pam Ward. The Minnesota Vikings had a very difficult day today, not just because they were shut out by Green Bay 34-0, but because Adrian Peterson, their superstar running back, sprained his knee on this play. He had 45 yards rushing when he got hurt, and will have an MRI tomorrow. The Steelers got down 21-6 to Cleveland, but then Big Ben led them back. Roethlisberger to Heath Miller, that's a 2-yard touchdown to give them a lead. Then Phil Dawson to tie it with 52 yards, from 52 yards away with 6 seconds left. Not quite there, so the Steelers win it. And there will be a new #1 team when the BCS standings come out, thanks to Juice Williams' 4 touchdown passes, Illinois upsetting Ohio State yesterday. You can check out the BCS standings and so much more coming up. SportsCenter, 7 Eastern.
Back at Phoenix International Raceway, Matt Kenseth's Ford Fusion showing the way here on lap 169, 143 left. Take a look at our Ford lap leaders. Carl Edwards, our pole sitter, led the first 87 laps. Martin Truex has led once for 51, and Matt Kenseth, the third leader and the current leader, has now led for 31 laps. And remember, Kenseth has not been on pit road since lap 110. Now, what kind of up across the racetrack?
That's the second time I've seen Matt do that, get in the corner and slide those front tires. He's driving this car real hard, but I'm impressed at how well he's running with these tires with this many laps on.
We can look at that air dam in the right front. I mean, a splitter. That thing gets on the ground, smokes a lot, slides up the racetrack. And Andy, if he drives in a little too deep, it looks like it hits the racetrack. Causes the car to slide up the racetrack like that.
And that splitter will go down and just hit the ground real hard and just unload the front tires.
Well, you ask who was going to get there first. Jimmy Johnson trying to run down and pass Jeff Gordon. Remember, neither one of these guys have led a lap today as they battle now for second position.
And right now, there's a difference between when Jeff Gordon pitted and when Jimmy Johnson pitted. Jimmy just got fresher tires at the moment and running faster lap speeds.
Dave, no drive up off, and Lewson turns 1 and 2 for the 24 as these two teammates battle. And people wonder, did they still share the information? They get asked that a lot. I talked to crew chief Steve Letarte this morning, and he said, the crew chief of the 24, he said, you know what? I want to know what everyone else is doing. So that information that's downloaded by engineers at the end of every practice and the instant messages that are sent back and forth during the race, I want to see it all because I want to know where everyone else stands too. Alan.
While we keep watching this great race for second place between the two championship contenders, I just want to spin the race forward a little bit and clue you in on a little strategy down here. Everyone on pit road is watching how well Matt Kenseth is running on these older tires, and they're starting to zero in on around lap 220 to lap 230 as Johnson finishes the pass. If you get a caution somewhere in that window, you're going to see these guys come down pit road, put on 4 tires, stuff the gas tank as full of fuel as they can, and that's going to be the last time you're going to see them on pit road during the race because the older tires are holding up so well. The guys want track position over everything. So watch that lap ticker. And remember, we get to lap 230, 225 or so. It might be the last pit stop of this race.
Great point, Alan. We'll keep an eye on what happens here at that window when it opens up. And remember, Jeff Gordon has tires that are 19 laps older, and the 48 car is still hung pretty tough there with Jimmy Johnson.
You can see the fuel tank here. The 24 car doesn't have as much fuel in it as the 48. Matt Kenseth's car actually has less than Jeff Gordon. So we'll probably see Matt Kenseth on pit road in about 15 laps or so.
48 car now in second position behind Matt Kenseth. Gordon back in third spot. We asked Jeff Gordon's crew chief, Steve Letarte, to compare the two drivers that are the two team drivers that right now are battling for a championship here in Nextel Cup.
It's hard to see from the outside, but Jeff is a very calculated driver. He's a little more emotional than Jimmy. He lets the race kind of run its course and apply it where needed, where Jimmy's a very high and low kind of guy. The valleys are very low, the peaks are very high, but he's a phenomenal talent. Obviously, Jimmy's shown the last 3 races that I don't know if there's a better driver out there with 5 or 10 to go in the sport, but there's probably no better driver than Jeff Gordon with 200 to go to make sure you get to 5 or 10 to go.
What a great evaluation by Steve Letarte. That pretty well encapsulates both their personalities.
And he would know because he works very closely with these guys. And, you know, these are two great talents. They're not the same, but they're very good, both of them.
Right now, this guy here, Matt Kenseth, just getting closer to a pit stop, and if he does, and that will let Jimmy Johnson and or Jeff Gordon lead a lap. Back in a moment. This telecast is available on ABC HD, presented by DLB HD TV. Phoenix International Raceway. Laps are clicking down, 130 laps to go. Matt Kenseth getting very close to that obligatory next pit stop, folks. He pitted on lap 110. Got to be, what, 10 or 11 laps maybe at most for Kenseth?
Yeah, about 10 or 11 laps he'll be due on pit road. I know he's hoping he'll get a caution, but he's going to have to come down pit road and get some fuel.
Well, one thing I'm really impressed with, though, guys, look at the lead he's got. He's got about a 3.8-second lead, and that's about a straightaway. He is really, I mean, checked out on these guys, got that track position. Very important.
Pulling away on used tires. That's good. That could be a great music song. How about some great music, folks? The biggest stars on the planet come together with live performances by Rascal Flatts, Maroon 5, Lenny Kravitz, Fergie, Rihanna, and more. For the first time ever, your votes will decide who wins. Hosted by Jimmy Kimmel and broadcast live from Nokia Theater, LA. The American Music Awards coming up Sunday, November 18th on ABC. Top 10 competitors. Ryan Newman in the 12 car trying to make a move, and they've been basically battling with Greg Biffle, and that has been for 5th spot.
Yeah, I just started to say back in the pack just a little bit. These two guys have been going at it side by side and can't seem to clear one another. Newman's been working the bottom side of the track. Greg Biffle on the top side. And he's getting a lot of momentum, Andy, up off the corners to keep in front of Newman.
That seems to be the thing, where they can move that groove up and use that momentum. But you see these guys really going at it. I saw the smoke coming out again of the 16 cars. This keeps being a theme with this car tomorrow. It just seems like these cars are so equal. They're just right on top of each other. You get an advantage on each other.
You're exactly right. When you look at the lap times up here in our ESPN booth, you can see the times, the top 15 cars at times are almost identical. Very, very close. This new car tomorrow, they're almost identical cars, and that's the reason why.
Biffle slides up high, opens a door for Newman, and he will take the spot away.
Might have got a little too high on that run. Finally, Newman gets it.
Right behind this battle, guys, keep an eye out because the 20 car of Tony Stewart seems to be on the move. AB.
Yeah, he's a guy to keep an eye on right now, Doc. Running lap times as good as the leaders at some point. And in fact, a lot faster than the leader for a couple of laps here. Tony reporting just a little bit ago that his car, he said, is pretty reasonable balance-wise right now. That's pretty good praise for Stewart. Back on lap 87, they made a pit stop. They lost 9 spots on pit road when a couple of lug nuts fell off as you watch Martin Truex passing Jeff Gordon. A couple of lug nuts fell off that 20 car. They've been digging out of that hole ever since.
Well, guys, right now the two fastest cars in track are Martin Truex and Tony Stewart.
17 car, your leader, Kenseth on pit road, jammed on the brakes, and he had to come in and make this green flag stop, getting down to 45 miles an hour. By the way, Jimmy Johnson will now get 5 points for leading in lap. He is the leader as Kenseth heads down to you, Dave Burns.
And they will take on 4 tires. They're going to make no changes to this race car, although Matt has been complaining that down in the shade of turn 1, his car is tough to turn. Down in the sunlight of turns 3 and 4, it gets out from under him, a little bit loose down there. But they believe that just changing the track, maybe a slight air pressure adjustment is all for the 17 car as he pits again about 10 or 11 laps before the rest of the field will need to come in for fuel.
Kenseth down and away, coming off the 3 consecutive top 5 finishes for Kenseth, last 3 times out. And a near miss, guys, trying to slow down to get on the pit road. Watch this.
His tires are worn out, and he's trying to get all he can get to the entrance of pit road. And this, wow, he gets down on this apron. There's a lot of trash down there, and he about loses the car.
Yeah, just a little bit loose right there, guys. Just like you said, Andy, very slick down there on the entry. But they got to come at those cones as hard as they can so they don't lose much time.
If this thing will cycle through this green flag run and all these other guys have to pit, this will be an actual advantage for the 17. You'll see him have even more lead than he had when he came in.
Remember, Jimmy Johnson now has led a lap, got the 5 bonus points. Top of your screen, Chase Tracker, the Chase Tracker, by the way, right beneath the race tracker. You see that Jeff Gordon now 55 points behind. Jamie Little.
Well, we heard it on the radio. Chad Canals telling Jimmy Johnson, I believe that's 5 points. They're very cognizant of every single point. That's how tight this competition is. Now, ironically enough, Jimmy Johnson was chasing Matt Kenseth. 1 year ago, they were in this position.
trying to do it, and those 5 bonus points are very critical. I know you were well aware of that when you were trying to win a title coming to Phoenix.
Oh, yeah, I'm real aware of that because my pit crew's telling me, and I'm almost doing the calculations in my mind because I'm so excited about trying to win a championship. I'm thinking about it. The team's thinking about it. The spotter. Everybody's keeping you well aware of where you're at.
Pretty good battle here, the 31 and the 40. Jeff Burton in the 31 car and the 40 of David Strimmy. 07 is also right there. Clint Boyer. That's 12th, 13th, and 14th.
You know, we were talking a little bit earlier about how these guys are running the speeds. We're looking at Clint Boyer right now, and he keeps holding it in there pretty good. Right now he's in 14th position. He's about a 10th of a second off the pace from the leaders. But again, Martin Truex still the fastest car on the track right now, along with Tony Stewart.
More on Clint Boyer with Mike Massaro.
Well, Doc, we talked about at the beginning of the show how as the sun set, the racetrack would change. And, well, that's pretty much what's happened to the car of Clint Boyer. It's gone from neutral to loose, and all of a sudden it's gotten tight. The only thing they can really attribute that to is rotor heat. That's what they think has caused the car to get real tight. But right now, Clint's having a difficult time trying to get that car to turn, especially in turns 1 and 2.
A lot of times you've got to, you overwork the front tires and makes them build up. But these cars, this car tomorrow, you have to use so much brake that heat just goes right into the wheel, overheats the front tires, makes them build up, and then you lose front grip because of the brake heat.
And we talked a little earlier about the sun now in the middle of turn 1 and 2. Almost the whole entire center portion of the racetrack in 1 and 2 is shaded, which really makes the car tighter now.
Jeff Gordon really low on fuel now in the 24 car. Remember, he pitted on lap 121, whereas Jimmy Johnson and Martin Truex came in on lap 140. Gordon stayed out. They rolled the dice, as you heard Steve Letarte say. Got to be coming in the next handful of laps, if not less.
Yeah, we're looking at about 10 laps or less than 10 laps before he has to pit, and then about another 15 laps before the other guys have to come in.
Well, these guys have been lucky and good all year long. And it wouldn't surprise me if a caution flag comes out pretty shortly to save him because he's been, sometimes it's year. And the 48 and the 24, they've had a lot of breaks this year that really help them.
Well, that would actually kill the 17 car, Matt Kenseth, to have a caution come out right now. He's holding his breath. Him and Robbie Reiser are holding their breath, hoping this caution doesn't come out.
Lap 197 of 312. Remember what Alan Bestwick said about everybody watching that 220, 230 lap mark to be able to know they can roll the dice, and what a scramble that will be, folks. And that is rapidly approaching. But Jeff Gordon can't get there. He's going to have to slow down and head for pit road in the next 2 or 3 laps.
At 20 car.
This time, Shannon, let him know we're coming. This time.
And how about next time by?
Yep, that's when he's coming. Here comes the 16.
Here's Biffle on pit road. Greg Biffle was running in 11th position. 31 of Jeff Burton also in the pits. There's Strimmy, you see, as a 31 of Burton makes his way down. These guys have just moved into the top 10. And here comes a 24 car of Jeff Gordon to make
pit road coming to you.
A pit stop. 45 miles an hour. Strimmy coming out. Gordon coming in.
Give you 4 tires.
Let's go down to Dave Burns.
And Doc, remember in Countdown, Jeff Gordon said last week we missed the setup. No talk like that this week. However, this car is loose everywhere. That wrench going in the rear window, 2 of them. One for a track bar adjustment, one for a reg adjustment. They'll also change 4 tires and try to get Jeff's car a little bit tighter, a little more comfortable underneath him so it doesn't spin out on him.
Yeah, great pit stop, 14.4 seconds. These guys didn't waste any time at all. Made the adjustments, and they got nothing to lose, Rusty.
No, they really don't. You saw them take the right rear track bar, and they screwed down on it 1 round, which makes the car tighter on entry on the exit of the corner, so that'll help it out.
Still about 18 laps away from Johnson and Truex and others having to make their stop. Back at Phoenix, you're watching ESPN on ABC. Back at Phoenix International Raceway, this broadcast is available in Spanish by activating your SAP button presented by ESPN Deportes. And these aerial shots from high above Phoenix International Raceway, courtesy of our good friends at Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR, helping NASCAR drivers get to the finish line for over 50 years. Jeff Gordon has made a pit stop. Folks being shown back in the pack here. Gordon actually being shown a lap behind until the other cycled to him pit. He's 26th. And now look at the point standings. How that would, how that would change if we were to get a caution right now, and Gordon will be stuck a lap back.
Oh, I just started to say this would be a very nervous time right now for Jeff Gordon. He's 135 points behind. And Andy, you got Johnson coming in about 15 laps. So, I mean, they're hoping for this swap around pretty quickly.
Yeah, this is a real critical time for the 24 because this is probably the most critical part of the run. When you've got this many laps on the tires, you got all kinds of problems that can happen during this run and bring out a caution. So they're holding their breath big time.
McMurray was one of the lead lap cars. He was running in 20th position. He has now made his pit stop. Lap 207. Jimmy Johnson is the leader. Johnson's last pit stop, lap 140. How far can they go?
Well, he's going to take it all the way if he's smart, because the way he could really wrap this thing up is to have a caution come out and keep Jeff Gordon down a lap.
So we'll take a quick break and come back and see if our leaders. Whoa, hold on. NASCAR looking for debris on the racetrack, and we are told they've seen something fly off a car. They want to make sure it's not in the groove.
Jeff Gordon's praying it's not in the groove.
Yeah, Jeff Gordon's saying what debris? And I don't see anything anywhere. And now the spotters are saying that they don't see anything on the racetrack.
Boy, if there had been debris in that, that's going to be big, boy. And there was a lot of nervous people now.
If he doesn't have enough to worry about, he's got Greg Biffle just chewing on his left rear corner right here.
Yeah, Biffle's been all over the back of Jeff Gordon right now, just wearing him out, making him loose, making him drive for it, that's for sure.
Remember, these are the guys that have been on pit road and made their pit stop. Sam Hornish. How about a pretty good day for Sam Hornish Jr., his first ever Cup start. And they made a big announcement last night over at the Penske Museum that Hornish is coming full-time to NASCAR's Nextel Cup in 2008. In fact, Hornish is going to drive the number 77 Mobil 1 Dodge next year after 8 successful years in the IRL IndyCar Series. He stalls the car a little bit. They're going to push it and get it going. Sam, the winningest driver in IRL IndyCar history and the 3-time champion, former Indy 500 winner.
And boy, while that's going on right now, you see Greg Biffle getting loose up off the corners and running right alongside Gordon. Andy, they've been doing this lap after lap.
I'm getting on the radio right now and say, hey, just let him go, man. We don't need to get wrecked and bring out a caution. The one caution we don't need, it certainly doesn't need to be us. So just let this guy go, man.
Yeah, because we talked all year long, these cars get aero loose side by side. So if that 16 sails it down in there and loses it, he's going to take Gordon out.
He got into him right there. That's just risky business for Jeff Gordon.
24 car currently back in 24th position. Biffle 26th. Jeff Burton, by the way, is also back there. He's already made a pit stop. Still waiting for Johnson, Truex, and Tony Stewart, by the way, running third. Ryan Newman fourth, and Kyle Busch is fifth. Those guys have yet to make a pit stop. Steve Letarte saying, oh my gosh, I hope we don't get a yellow flag. There's Jimmy Johnson. And probably Steve Letarte saying, come on, Jimmy, come on the pit road, you guys. Let's make that pit stop and get us back on a lead lap. More on Jimmy Johnson. Let's check in with Jamie.
Well, as this pit crew gets ready to set up for a pit stop here in about 10 laps or so, just wanted to add a little thing on Jack Knaus I found out. People want to know what makes him so good, how he is so good late in the race and makes all the right calls on pit road. Well, when I walked in to talk to him in the hauler yesterday, he was watching film of the spring race here, and I asked him why he does it. He said we do it every race. We watch what unfolds and what won a race and what they learn. So what he learned here, it's all about track position and all about timing and when you come into the pits. Guys, it's one of the many things that makes Jack Knaus as good as he is.
Well, he's a good one, that's for sure. I mean, the guy is so calculated. He focuses so much. He's in total control of this race, sitting on top of that box, looking at his driver, having communication with him. Definitely one of the best, that's for sure, guys.
Paul Menard, by the way, having a very good day. Menard being shown in 14th position, now coming on the pit road to make what could be maybe his final stop, depending upon how many caution laps we can possibly get. Probably can't make it the rest of the way. Kevin Harvick on pit road. Alan.
And going to come in and get a 4-tire change here. Harvick's crew has adjusted on this car several times today. Remember I said earlier, track position was what they were lacking. They really haven't had the opportunity to pull it in strategy to get better track position. So everything he's gotten on the track today, he's gotten on the speedway. He's raced his way up to just outside the top 10.
Kyle Busch in for his pit stop. 96 laps to go. Started back in 38th position, and he jammed those brakes on trying to get this Chevy slowed down to 45 before coming on the pit road. Let's go down to Allen for the Kurt Busch stop.
Yeah, Kurt called in just a little while ago. Actually, Pat Trice and the crew chief called Kurt, and he said, we're going to pit about lap 220. And Kurt said, well, doesn't really matter because I'm going to be the caution before then. He's really been struggling with the handling of this car. Mike?
The only thing Kyle Busch really has been complaining about is how little the car's been able to turn in the corners. Still a little bit tight. This time, though, still no adjustments, just 4 tires and fuel on the 5.
Now watch a moment ago, watch the 5 car come on the pit road realizing he's still probably run 120 miles an hour. Just jam those brakes.
Well, he's taking a look at that cone right there. He knows he's got to have you slow down because the electronic timing devices that NASCAR has, it'll catch you if you're too fast. And there's no disputing that when that happens.
Jimmy Johnson projected this next pit stop.
This time if he can.
Project it right now. He's coming down pit road.
Gap behind you there.
Boy, they're not going to. Jimmy Johnson's going to go in right now. He's not going to take advantage of how much fuel he's got left. Looks like they're going to go for some tires. Because he could have went about 8 laps farther.
Well, they were saying they could go about 8 laps farther. They might have been trying to just scare Jeff Gordon's team a little.
Well, I started to say the 48 car had the 24 of Jeff Gordon in the pressure cooker. Now it's a flop.
Tony Stewart on pit road for his stop. Let's go down to Jamie and Jimmy Johnson's pit.
And Jimmy Johnson said he's still a little free off, but he doesn't want to make too big of an adjustment to hurt that center roll, so they're just going to make an air pressure adjustment. And 4 tires for leader Jimmy Johnson. He's down. Doc.
Had a little problem with the right front with a lug nut, but they recovered well. They picked one up, stuck it on there.
Arden Truex was the leader when Johnson coming on the pit road. He comes in right in front of you, Jamie.
And Martin Truex Jr. been one of the men to beat today. He's in that same car he won at Dover with. He said the sun is getting really bad. You can see the tape on his front windshield there. He takes the strip off as the sun gets lower. Half up on that rear wedge and 4 tires for Martin Truex Jr. Doc?
Denny Hamlin in for his service now. Major chassis adjustments. They'll go to work on the track bar and on the left side with wedge. 4 tire change for Denny Hamlin and fuel. Cargo team going to work now on the left side as they make final movements on their service here down on pit road. The 11's away.
Hamlin down and away. Reed Sorensen would be scored as the leader as you see Hamlin exiting pit road. 90 laps to go next time by. Pit stops are cycling. There's the 41 car of Reed Sorensen. Driving for Chip Ganassi and Felix Sabates. Has yet to make his stop, and he will slow down right now and make his pit stop. They have cycled through as Sorensen comes down, and that will make Matt Kenseth, by the way, our new leader here at Phoenix with just 90 laps to go.
There they go, the 4 tire stop. You see the tire carrier, Marty Forcier. He's putting that tire in there, and he's got to pick up this tire that comes off, get it to the wall, catch that other tire, help the left front tire changer, get it on in position, clean the grill.
Marty Forcier, a former 82nd Airborne Division U.S. Army veteran. And Marty wanted us to give a shout out to Bravo Company, his buddies that were stationed over in Italy. Great job by Marty, former Army veteran. Matt Kenseth, our leader here. Back after these messages and a word from our ABC station.
Back at Phoenix International Raceway on Veterans Day, and the second to last race in the chase for the Nextel Cup. The story in the Pepsi Race Rundown. Pole sitter Carl Edwards dominated early, led the first 87 laps, but found trouble on lap 106.
He absolutely had an absolutely great race car today, but yeah, had a little engine trouble, and it's made his day very sour. Too bad for Carl Edwards.
And Dale Earnhardt Jr. crashed out on lap 118 in jeopardy of not winning a race this season, and he suffers his 9th DNF of the year.
He was just cruising along, lost the car all by himself, destroyed it. He's done for the day. Hopefully he can get a win next week at Homestead.
The points battle at the top has been everything we could have hoped for between Jimmy Johnson and Jeff Gordon, and strategy is playing out.
Yeah, Jeff Gordon pitted early. He was very, very much in the danger zone. If a caution had come out, he'd have been 140 points down. But now they're starting to cycle through, so we're back to square one. Let's see what happens as the race goes on.
Johnson left here last year with a 37-point lead. Right now it's 50. That could certainly change over the next 81 laps, Doc.
It certainly could, and as you heard at the top of the show, we had a lot of cars, had 41 cars finish this race back in the spring. We still have 37 cars, actually 38 cars on the racetrack. So if you have trouble, you can still get a very bad finish here coming out of this one. Jimmy Johnson right now with a 50-point lead over Jeff Gordon. And here are the drivers who have been eliminated from winning the championship. It is down to 4 drivers in this chase. 2 teammates, 1 championship. Still got 1 race to go, but this one is far from over here at Phoenix. Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson battling it out. Back in just a moment. Back at Phoenix International Raceway, caution coming out on lap 233, and now the critical strategy is about to unfold on pit road. This is the caution we were talking about. After 230 laps, they're going to come in, and who rolls the dice on what kind of tire?
This is it right here. Everybody can make it from here. This will be the last stop.
It's closed. It's closed.
Pits are not open yet, so these guys are going to have a lap to think about what they're going to do.
Let's show you what happened here to bring out the caution flag. 22 car Dave Blaney spins out.
Hello, come on. Good job, buddy.
Now he kept it out of the wall and he hustled up to be able to try to stay on the lead lap. Watch him spin again.
And Jerry, the 22 car, this is one of the fellows really trying desperately to stay in the top 35 in points or get himself in the top 35. So this is a big setback for this team.
Yeah, he was actually 2 laps down, but he's trying to keep him losing another lap. We're talking about Blaney. Now everyone is going to be coming onto pit road. The question is, Andy, how much do you roll the dice? 2 tires, no tires.
Well, I can't be the crew chief for all of them, Jerry, but there's going to be some different things going on down there, and there's going to be an opportunity for some teams to take advantage of this.
Matt Kenseth the leader, Jimmy Johnson, Truex Jr., Biffle, Jeff Gordon, that's a top 5. Kyle Busch back in 6th. Kevin Harvick is 7th. Newman, Tony Stewart, Jeff Burton. Lots of chasers there in the top 10. Let's go down the pit road and Alan Bestwick.
Well, Kevin Harvick is up into the top 10. He's going to be among the first to hit his pit stall. That yellow and red car, there he is, top left box. Look for this team to make a 4-tire change. They need to adjust the car, so they're going to see what happens strategy-wise with the rest of the stops. Dave?
How do you fix a car that didn't go the logical way last time you wrenched on it? Well, they're going to take one of the adjustments back out, that's the wedge adjustment, and change something else to try to get Jeff from being so loose. Jamie.
And Jimmy Johnson said, Chad, I almost missed the commitment cone 2 times. Please count me in. He made it down to his pit box all right. They're going to do 4 tires. No changes on that 48, Mike.
Lots of conversation between Alan Gustafson and Kyle Busch as to what to do on this stop. Initially, Gustafson called for a 2-tire stop, but Kyle was able to convince him that he needs 4. That's the only way he says he's going to be able to hang with the leader.
Race off of pit road. Newman up 7 spots. Boyer up 13 positions. Jimmy Johnson back 4. And lots of adjustments on Jeff Gordon's car. We'll talk about those when we come back to Phoenix in just a moment. Tonight on ABC, all your Sunday favorites are all new, starting with America's funniest home videos after the race. Then it's another unbelievable transformation on Extreme Makeover Home Edition. At a 9 Eastern, Desperate Housewives is all new, followed by an all-new Brothers and Sisters. So no worries, folks. ABC's all new, all night tonight. Keep it right here on ABC.
And that Jumbotron's cool. How do they get that thing from race to race? They got to take it apart?
That's a lot of effort, boys. The thing weighs a ton. On the racetrack here, 75 laps to go here. And boy, some guys have rolled the dice. We had fuel only for the 12 car of Newman, who came out as the leader. 2 tires by Tony Stewart. The 18 of Yaley, the 07 of Clint Boyer. As you take a look at our Ford lap leaders, you saw Carl Edwards. 87 laps, and by the way, you see now Jimmy Johnson has led 31 laps, and no number 24 on there. Jeff Gordon is yet to lead a lap here, but he still has 74 more chances.
Boy, the pit strategy is all over the board right now.
Juan Pablo Montoya back on the pit road. Taking a look at the left side of his Dodge. More on Jeff Gordon. A lot of adjustments down there, Dave.
Boy, Doc, they hope they made the right decisions down here. Steve Letarte apologizing to Jeff, knowing that they did the right things to try to correct a loose race car, but it just didn't help him. It was a wedge adjustment and track bar. They reversed the wedge adjustment, and they put the air pressures back to where they were. Steve Letarte encouraging his driver, do the best you can. I don't know, maybe something crazy happened. See what you can do.
Steve Letarte very pensive and focused, hoping they've made the right call. You've been there many a time, Andy Petrie. You got to hope you did the right thing because a championship's on the line. Remember, Ryan Newman took no tires, fuel only, and here comes the 17 car of Kenseth. Newman probably a sitting duck.
Yeah, he probably is. This 17's been good all day. It didn't matter what kind of tires he had, whether it was 2 tires, no tires, old tires, new tires. He's been good all day.
I haven't seen a car on a track like this just come in for just gas only in a long, long time. So they must be pretty confident what kind of tire wear they've got.
Hey, Ryan Newman's driving this thing back there. He's trying to hang on. Drove it hard into turn 1 up there in the middle groove.
It's got some momentum on the top side of that racetrack. Andy and I were talking earlier that the top side here at Phoenix never really comes in good, but it's looking pretty good here today.
12 car of Newman just hanging right there, Jamie Little.
Well, you can't tell by looking at him, Doc, but the crew is telling Ryan Newman to conserve fuel. They are so close to making it to the end, so they're going to keep their fingers crossed. But if Matt Kenseth keeps racing them like that, guys, it's going to make things interesting for Ryan Newman.
That's interesting to know that they're that close on fuel, because my numbers say that most of these guys can go, a good 80 laps, no problem.
Yeah, I mean, that's only that is very, very confusing. It only puts him like 73, 74 laps that he could run on fuel, and the rest of them, I'm positive, can make it.
Jimmy Johnson working by the lap car of David Gilliland. Gilliland in 24th position, 1 lap down. Johnson being shown in the 6th position. By the way, Jeff Gordon back in 8th spot. How about Tony Stewart, who led the most laps here in the spring? Tony has finished 2nd here in 2 of the last 3 times he has raced a Cup car at Phoenix.
I'll tell you what's interesting about this is these guys were not good at all in practice. They changed everything this morning. We heard Alan Bestwick say they were looking for rear grip. They changed the entire rear end housing under that car. What else did they do down there to that car, Alan?
Well, I'm going to switch from what they did to the car, Andy, to what's been happening on pit road. Twice today they've had bad stops, long stops, including that last 4-tire stop that they made on the caution at lap 214. So this time Greg Zipadelli went for 2 tires to try and get back some of the track position that they've lost, and the caution's out. What's happening?
78 car Allen has spun around over off of turn 2. Joe Nemechek, and that will bring out caution for the 9th time today.
Come on. They're just over here in number 1.
Joe Nemechek gets his Chevy righted, and we will have the yellow flag fly once again. I'll show you again what happened just a moment ago with Nemechek off of 2.
Well, it looks like he just got clipped on the exit of turn 2 and turned him head on into the wall.
Under caution, back with a restart at Phoenix International Raceway in a moment as this chase clicks down. You're watching ESPN on ABC. We're heading to Homestead, Miami for the season finale next week. First, it's a NASCAR Busch Series final race next Saturday. Get warmed up for the Cup race with the Ford 300 at 4 o'clock Eastern time on ESPN2. And then on Sunday, the NASCAR Nextel Cup champion will be crowned. The last 3 championships have been decided during this final race of the season. It's the Ford 400 on ABC at 3 o'clock Eastern time. We'll bring down the curtain on the 2007 NASCAR Busch Series and NASCAR Nextel Cup season. Already crowned a Busch champion. Carl Edwards, the NASCAR Busch Series champion, still trying to decide, just a few points away from crowning Richard Childress as the Busch Series owners champion. Looking back from our Chevy pace car, and we're going to crown a NASCAR Nextel Cup champion at Homestead next Sunday. Matt Kenseth leads him down with a green flag. 65 laps to go.
Boy, guys, you can really see the sun setting right now. The track's a lot blacker, it's shaded up, so the handling is really going to change in these cars. Turn 1 and 2 especially, it's really made a big change down there, guys. 3 and 4, not so much yet.
Well, this 20 car looks good right now. Matt Kenseth has had the best car, but it looks like the 20 car is running him down here.
Good run for Phoenix native J.J. Yaley in the 18 car. Yaley being shown in 10th position. Kyle Busch behind him are trying to make the pass now for 10th spot.
And boy, Kyle, he just sticks that car anywhere where there's a hole. He made it 3 wide in the outside of turn 2 and stayed in the throttle and was able to clear all those guys and get down. Gandy, he has been driving all week long like a man possessed.
I love to watch this guy race because he drives his car looser, he drives it harder, he puts it in places that nobody else will put a car, keeps it exciting. I love it.
You know, this guy's a pretty nice guy, really is too. He makes some real aggressive comments every now and then. He's a youngster, but I had a chance to sit down with the other day and say hello to him, and he's a good fella, nice guy.
What a talent is Kyle Busch. I mean, 22 years of age and already that much talent in the seat. I mean, just imagine as he matures the driver, he's already pretty darn good.
Jeff Gordon's driving his heart out right now because this championship could be slipping away from these guys. As they run out of laps, they really need to try to make up some points. And Jimmy Johnson's in front of him.
Well, he's finally got some clean track to run on, Andy. I mean, he's able to get the downforce in front of the car and make some good lap times right now. He was all gaggled up there for a while. Just couldn't get anything done. Boy, David Gillian's got awful high in that racetrack sliding around. They were hearing that the one car, Martin Truex, might have a flat tire. Doesn't seem to be hurt.
Good. He said the lefts look good. They're trying to figure out what the problem might be.
The rights they don't look like they're all wrinkled up, buddy. Take your time here.
Yeah, from our cameras right now, it looks okay. The left side tires look fine. Don't see a problem there.
You don't want to blow a tire. You don't want to have a flat tire and maybe wreck the car. But the one thing you don't want to do is to pit without a tire going down.
Well,
and that's what we're trying to find out here.
Now, guys, one thing I just did see on that last turn right there to exit, it looks like the left rear tire was starting to bend out more than the left front. Could have a left rear tire going down in a one car, Martin Truex.
You heard him say something's wrong with it. He's running 5th, and he certainly pit stop could be disastrous. Here's a 29 and 24 for position. That is for 8th spot. Gordon has it. Harvick trying to take it away. Let's check in with Dave.
We know, Doc, as we go down to the end of this race, there might be a couple more restarts. Those are not real beneficial for Jeff Gordon because in addition to racing guys like Kevin Harvick, who are racing him for position, that puts lapped cars in harm's way.
Yeah, one spot or anywhere around there? I can find it. To put him a lap down or to get by him, then, I got a lot of ways that I can make it happen.
Remember, Jeff Gordon came into this race down in points. He's got to make them up any way that he can. I don't think he's going to let lap traffic be in his way if he can help it.
Side-by-side battle. Vickers right in front of him. And Gordon just trying to hang on. Every position is critical.
And that's the voice of a fella going for a championship. He's not wanting to tolerate a lot of lap cars in front of him that are holding him up and obviously frustrated just a little bit. Made a warning that, hey, he can put his bumper to him and take care of himself if somebody doesn't help him.
Somebody like Jeff Gordon, he's got, like he said, a lot of different ways he can move you out of his way. He can do it and you wouldn't even know he was doing it.
Saw a moment ago shadows over the racetrack down in turns 1 and 2, and the track will begin to change here as the shadows creep across quite a bit of the track. Gordon trying to hang on beside Kevin Harvick. Matt Kenseth is the leader. Tony Stewart in hot pursuit. Welcome back to Phoenix International Raceway. 52 laps to go. Matt Kenseth has led 3 times for 84 laps. He is within 3 laps of tying his teammate Carl Edwards for the most laps led. Edwards now back in the garage area. Here's a 24 car of Jeff Gordon, and he certainly has had his hands full here in the last few laps. Gordon being shown back in the 9th position. Side by side, watch the contact here with Gordon and Kevin Harvick as they are battling for the 8th spot. Whoa.
Stop running into me. I won't have to run into him.
I get a little frustrated right now. It looks like the 29 of Kevin Harvick just kind of, looks like to me, guys, accidentally bounced off of him going at turn 1 and then lost the car and slid up front and actually caused some damage on the left front fender of the 24 of Jeff Gordon.
Yeah, that secondary contact is what hurt the car, and really that looked like it was Jeff going right back at the 29. I don't think there was too much damage until that happened. Dave?
And as you know, Andy, they're monitoring it the best they can all around the track. Teammate Kyle Busch was next to him for a second, might have gotten a look at it. Spotters are looking at it. You see the smoke coming out of the car as it goes off of corner number 4, but they're keeping their eye on it as best they can.
Well, there's not much they can do right here. I mean, if they pit, they basically give this championship to Jimmie Johnson. You know, this is risky. I don't like it. I don't like seeing that tire rub like that, but man, I have to leave him out there right now.
Yeah, absolutely, and there's no way in the world he could pit right now. You just got to hope the contact with the fender against the tires on the top part of the tire where it's not maybe rubbing a hole in the sidewall, that would cause a failure.
This doesn't look good. I don't like it at all, like I said, but you know, his hands are tied. If you bring him in, you're basically giving it up.
Well, we've seen problems happen earlier in the races this year where the fender would get bent on the tire, and the tire would actually come up and knock the fender out of the way. But right now, that's not happening. You can see on the very edge of the left front fender is where it's touching.
Matt Kenseth is our leader, by the way, the 17 car. Back in Tony Stewart in second spot. Ryan Newman, there's a 12 car in third. Martin Truex is fourth. And Jimmie Johnson, there's the 48 car in fifth position.
You think that one car is glad they didn't pit for a flat tire when he thought he had one? Seems to have worked itself out now, and he's hanging in there in the top 5.
24 car hanging on back in the 9th spot, right in front of his teammate Kyle Busch. Now, a lot of smoke off this tire here rubbing on the 24 car Jeff Gordon.
Oh yeah, take a look at this, guys. Just too close for comfort, Andy. It looks like the damage, though, is definitely, it looks like it's rubbing on the sidewall, and that's not the good place to be rubbing a tire. So
I don't like to rub a tire anywhere. This looks a whole lot like the Tony Stewart tire rub we saw at Kansas.
And look at the fender. The fender's going in and out.
He just doesn't have a choice. He's got to stay out here. I don't like it at all. I can't stand to look at this if I'm a crew chief, but he has no choice but to leave him out.
See where that Goodyear decal is on the top of the fender, just pulsating in and out as the tire rubs the inside of that fender, but not much choice. Do you hang on and try to win a championship and roll the dice, or do you possibly cut a tire and have serious damage or more? 45 laps to go. A lot of thoughts about what could happen right now with the 24 car of Jeff Gordon. Let's go down to the Chevy cutaway car and Tim Brewer.
Jerry, you're exactly right. What Andy and Rusty was talking about a while ago, folks, if that tire's rubbing right here on this edge, you can see how beefy it is. You might have a little bit of room for margin of error right there, but see how thin the sidewall is? If that thing's rubbing up in that area right there, you're pretty much doomed. Jerry?
Exactly, Tim. Doesn't take much to get through the sidewall, and that's really where you got to worry. For more information on tire rubs, you can log on to ESPN.com, search word Auto Tech. Laps are winding down. 44 laps to go. Jimmie Johnson is our leader. Jimmie Johnson is the points leader. Jeff Gordon in second spot, and now we are being told there is debris on the racetrack.
And this is going to put Jeff Gordon in another tight spot because he has to come in and get this thing worked on. And there's 23 cars on the lead lap.
Yeah, that tire rub's gone away now.
Well, that spotter doesn't have the advantage of what we can see. We know the tire's still rubbing slightly.
Yeah, definitely. The tire rub has not went away. You can see the tire's got a lot of shiny marks on it from it's been rubbing for so long time. And as our Tim Brewer just showed us, it's only about 1/8 of an inch thick, the side of that tire.
Yeah, there's the sharp metal on the track. He just flew off one of the cars right there. NASCAR saw it right in the groove and said, we cannot allow all these guys to be on the racetrack with maybe cut a tire. So they brought out the caution flag, 10th time of day. And now they are airing up some tires down there for the guys in the DuPont pit. I guess we know what they're going to have to do.
They're going to have to come in. I mean, I don't come if they're all coming. But hey, the lucky thing is a lot of them are coming.
Kenseth coming in, Stewart coming in. Let's go down to Dave Burns.
Leader Matt Kenseth wanted to come in. The balance is pretty good on his race car. They may do a 2-tire stop. 24 of Jeff Gordon. You see him pulling into his pit stall as well. That left front tire is the one that's the issue. They will change all 4 to give Jeff maximum grip. Now they go around to the other side as the tire changer pulls it off. Might give a, no, they're not going to give a little tug right there. Right there will clear the debris and hopefully not damage that left front tire any further.
I think that's all it needed was just a little tug, Dave. Maybe they got that thing clear enough and go race for this thing.
One tug for a title, huh?
That's it.
You talk about a break. I mean, that caution flag was a big break. All these guys hit pit road, got Jeff Gordon right back in the game.
Folks, this one is far from over. There are still 24 cars on the lead lap. Back after these messages and a word from our ABC stations.
Behind quarterback Matt Hasselbeck, Seattle is in its familiar spot atop the NFC West. Mike Holmgren's team is only 4-4 and has work to do. Alex Smith and the 49ers trying to stand in the way at 8:30 Eastern on ESPN's Monday Night Football.
Thanks, Michael. Coming up Monday night, and by the way, halftime guests on Monday Night Football will be our championship contenders, Jimmy Johnson and Jeff Gordon. How about the Arizona Cardinals, second right now in the NFC Western Division standings behind the Seahawks? You see the 49ers there and the Rams at 1-8. What a surprise, the Rams at 1-8 here this year. Bit of a struggle there for St. Louis. 63 points now separating Jeff Gordon from Jimmy Johnson. 39 laps separating Martin Truex from the checkered flag at Phoenix. Glad to have you with us, folks. ESPN coverage on ABC. Martin Truex will lead him down. He did not pit, neither did Johnny Sauter in second spot. Those are the only two cars that did not come on the pit road.
Take a look at Johnny Sauter right up on the bumper at Truex, getting him sideways. And Sauter, he ran really good this year, guys. You remember in Richmond, Virginia, he had a great car. We talked a lot about him. Guy's been pretty good all year long.
Martin Truex thought he had a problem, didn't have a problem. I guess Jamie decided to stay out.
He didn't have a problem, and then they got a little luck dealt to him. They decided they were going to stay out, but the thing was they didn't know everyone else was going to pit that was in the front with them. So Truex just came over the radio right now again and said, I still can't believe those guys pitted. So perhaps they just got the lead handed to them and maybe another win.
And take a look at this race right now between Elliott Sadler and Eric Almirola going for the lucky dog. I mean, that is one whale of a race we're having. Side by side, smoke flying out from under the cars, splitters bottoming out, sideways off the corner. That's when you want it bad right there.
Tony Stewart, who you heard earlier has had struggles on pit road, he lost 17 spots on pit stops earlier in the day, and they finally had a couple of good stops, and Stewart in contention now in the 4th position. Jeff Gordon, the 24 car, mired back there. Gordon being shown back in the 12th position. Let's listen in to Gordon's radio.
Here's the deal. By myself, I'm mediocre. You put somebody behind me and I'm completely sideways, so I can't drive it. So, you know, I don't know what to tell you. It takes a while for it to come in.
Well, he's talking about how the car's loose when he's got somebody up behind him. And you can't count on that, so he wants his car. He says he's only mediocre when he's by himself. So they really kind of struggled today to get the car just right. But man, he's got his hands full of these lap cars.
Well, take a look at Jimmy Johnson and Matt Kenseth again, reminiscent of last week at Texas. I mean, Jerry Johnson is just driving his brains out. He said, you know, I can't drive easy. I got to get all the points I can.
And how about Matt Kenseth, who took 2 tires, and he makes the pass on Jimmy Johnson for second spot.
Well, he's been fighting Jimmy Johnson for this spot since the green came out. These guys, you know, you had that one car, Martin Truex, stay out on tires, and he's able to get a little bit of a lead on these guys with these lap cars in between them. I was expecting Matt Kenseth from the 48 to just run up there and blow right by Truex.
Now, we saw these two guys battle in the final laps at Texas a week ago, and Jimmy Johnson right up there. And in fact, they nearly rubbed her just in the final few laps. And when you talked to Jimmy Johnson after he went back and watched the tape of those final laps, what did he say?
He said, I said, man, that was some risky business, you guys racing that hard over there at Texas. He said, you know, I didn't think I was racing that hard until I went back and watched it on video. He said, man, I really was going after it.
But there's one thing we know, he'll do it again because he did it last week. And if he did it last week, he's going to do it this week. And one big reason, he can see Martin Truex right in front of him, only 4 cars. He sees victory in his sights, not just points.
No one's going to accuse that guy of backing into a championship. Jimmy Johnson is on the charge. He did it at Texas. He's going to try to pull it off here in Phoenix.
These two guys are faster than the leaders racing side by side. So it just shows you how good their cars are. They're basically racing for the win, even though they're running for second spot.
Well, Jimmy's definitely got a better car right now than Matt Kenseth. This track position's hurting him, so he's going to choose to bottom the racetrack. If that doesn't work, I expect he's going to try to go up in the middle of 3 and 4, dime in the corner, and try to vibe up underneath of them.
They still have to get by this one car, Martin Truex, and he's holding in there pretty good. What's he got for him down there, Dave?
Well, Andy, hopefully a little more room on the high side. Look at him going really high there off the corner and nailing it. You know, respect for each other got them a great race and a finish without knocking each other out of the way last week. Matt was asked about that, and he said, you always try to give each other respect, and usually you get it back, which I think, again, this week he's getting it back. These two guys respect each other. He says it doesn't always work out that way, so keep a good eye on this. They're trying not to touch each other.
Man, Eric Almirola, boy, he's in a hornet's nest right now. Oh, 3 wide, guys. This is a little too tight.
Oh, baby. Contact between the 0-1 and the 17. That could have been disaster if the 17 bounces off and hits the 48.
Well, Matt Kenseth says, hey, wait a minute, man. You're a lap down. We're racing for this spot. What are you doing in the way?
Now you hear they get the guy out of the way. Well, you know, hey, he's trying to go for the lucky dog, but right now, Jimmy Johnson refocusing his sights right on a bumper. That #1 car at Truex right now, and he is running fast.
Inside of 30 laps to go, Martin Truex trying to hold on to get his second career win. You're watching ESPN on ABC. Back at Phoenix International Raceway, Jimmy Johnson on the attack there with the 1 car. But folks, remember, 24 cars on the lead lap. A little contact, and if Johnson spins, he's 25th in a snap.
Well, he would be, Jerry, but he's been awful fast to the center of the corner right now. It looks like he's going to, oh, he's barely clear Martin Truex. And there he goes. He's got that clean air. And here he is going for 4 in a row right now.
Martin Truex in the Bass Pro Shop Chevy trying to reel him in, but he just can't get there. Here comes the 17 car. The Ford of Kenseth on the inside to take the second spot away.
Matt Kenseth's not going to roll over for this guy. I'm telling you, he's tired of getting beat by this 48.
Oh, you got that right. Right now, Kenseth and the #1 car, Martin Truex, running side by side will let Jimmy get away. If they can stay racing side by side, Johnson can just get gone and not have to contend with him.
20 car is back in 4th position at Stewart. Biffle in the 16 car. Great run for Greg Biffle.
Yeah, right now, Biffle's last lap at 29.06, and that is right at 1/10 of a second faster than anybody on the racetrack right now.
You know, Greg Biffle's a hungry race car driver, too. He wants to get up here and dice with these guys. He's got a fast car. He's run them down.
Oh, he's got time. 21 laps to go. He can get past these guys, but he's just got to pick a lane where nobody else is at and start working on it.
There's a look at Biffle in the 16 car. Arizona's been awfully good to him. He was discovered by running short track races in Tucson years ago. There's a 17 car going on around. Here comes the 1 car of Truex back on the inside.
Go crossover move. Matt went in the corner real hard and slipped up in front of Martin Truex.
And that reminds me of turn 1 at Darlington, South Carolina, the crossover there. Jamie?
Talk about a race within a race, guys. Martin Truex Jr. racing to get in the top 10 in points and go to New York City and celebrate this year that they've had. They've reached all their goals, and that's the last one they won. Now his crew chief, Bono, known, that's what we call him, Kevin Mannion, he told me, I think people look at Martin Truex like, oh yeah, he barely made it in the chase and he's gonna finish last. He said, we want to prove people wrong. And guys, the way he's racing, I think a lot of people know that Martin Truex Jr. is here to stay as the face of DEI.
Martin Truex, Jamie, 11th right now in the points. Remember, only the top 10 go to New York and get to be on the stage. He's trying to get in the top 10.
Boy, Greg Biffle just sailed it down into turn 3, and the top side of Tony Stewart is making it work. And look at this. He's going after Martin Truex right now, guys.
And he's got this baby rolling.
I mean, a lot of momentum. You know, Greg's been able to make the car work on the top side, not the preferred part of the racetrack. The shortest way around is dead on the bottom. But like we talked all day long, a lot of momentum on the top of that track.
Looks like this racetrack's come around for, you know, this sunshine has gone away. We've got shade all around. Probably come around for Biffle's car here to change his car. Maybe he's better now.
Well, Andy, you're exactly right, because the complete turn 1 and 2 now is completely shaded. A lot of grip down there, a lot of grip on the exit of turn 2, but we still got sun on the entrance of turn 3 and all through 3 and 4.
We know where Jimmy Johnson is. He's leading, but what about the 24 car? There is Jeff Gordon, who's had his hands full back in 10th place. Dave.
And, Doc, that means he's only passed 3 cars since the restart. And something we said at the beginning of the broadcast bears repeating. Jeff himself said with this car and this racetrack, unless you have something really good, it's hard to come through the field. As Greg Biffle now gets around Martin Truex Jr. He had something pretty good, which was 4 tires versus some of the 2 tires, but that's not really good enough at this point. Still locked back in traffic.
Well, when you got a car that's just a little bit off, like Jeff Gordon's is, you can't maneuver it, and you can't pass cars. You got to have it so that front end sticks real good so you can pull it down from underneath the car, and Jeff's car is just not good enough. It can run fast by itself, but it can't pass anybody.
Not like this 16 car. He can drive this thing just about anywhere. He's passing them high and passing them low.
Every single lap, the rear end of this 16 car is jumping out, but why it's doing that, Andy, it is flat going forward.
Fastest car on the racetrack last time by.
And you know what? They're telling them that, too. They're saying, Craig, pedal hard, buddy. 15 laps to go. You can do it. You got the fastest car on the track.
Years ago, ESPN had a show called Winter Heat. They went to Tucson to a short track to air some races during the wintertime. And Benny Parsons saw Greg Biffle run the short tracks and drew the attention of Biffle to one Jack Roush, and that's how Biffle got his big break.
And then I heard Biffle wrecked a lot of cars, and then Jack Roush tried to beat up Benny because of that. Is that right?
Yeah, a couple of them were my cars. He drove my car when he was through it.
Tony Stewart now making the move as the 20 car goes by the 1 for position. So it is Johnson the leader, Kenseth, then Biffle, then Stewart, then Truex.
Biffle's still the fastest car last time by, so he's still catching these guys.
And boy, you got Matt Kenseth on the top of the racetrack, working all the lines. And take a look at Tony Stewart. He's holding on right now. He's got around Martin Truex, and Newman hasn't gave up anything yet either. He's working the top side of the track now.
What has given up are the tires on that 1 car. Martin Truex held in there pretty good for a little while, but looks like those tires are gone now.
13 laps ago, Jimmy Johnson has won 3 in a row. The last driver in NASCAR Cup competition to win 4 in a row was guess who?
His teammate.
Jeff Gordon back in 1998. And by the way, that was the year Jeff Gordon won his 2nd championship in a row, which is exactly what Jimmy Johnson is trying to do in 2007.
Boy, Jerry, Jeff Gordon is over close to 9 seconds behind the leader. And he is so far behind Jimmy Johnson right now. A little while ago, he wasn't even in the picture. Tough day for Jeff Gordon right now.
A week ago, Jimmy Johnson and Jeff Gordon both went to Texas. Neither had won there, and Jimmy Johnson came away with his first win at Texas. Coming into Phoenix, Jimmy Johnson had never won here. He's got 11 laps to hang on to change that mark in the record books.
Well, he's been changing a lot of the records in the record book here lately.
Well, one thing I've noticed, guys, Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson's 2 cars were pretty close at the beginning of this race. But as this sun starts setting, it really has changed the cars a lot. It's made Jimmy Johnson's car just take off and has really killed Jeff Gordon's.
Harvick in the 29 car trying to make a move. This is a battle, by the way, for 6th position as Ryan Newman has now gone by Truex for 5th spot. Kevin Harvick won both events here at Phoenix a year ago. Won the spring event, actually won Busch End Cup in the spring, and then won the Fall Cup race.
Kevin's always been good at this racetrack. He's one of the best short trackers around it. And I know this is a 1-mile track, but it drives like a short track. It's flat, you run real soft springs, and a lot of things are similar. Island?
Rusty, Kevin Harvick said before this race that they were going to use this Phoenix event as a measuring stick. He said, if we don't run well, we know we need to work on our stuff. We should run in the top 5. If we don't, we're going to be disappointed. I guess they know measuring themselves against that 48 car, they've got a little work to do before they start racing this car full-time next season.
Well, they're not the only ones, Alan, that have some work to do. Looks like a lot of guys got some catching up to this Hendrick bunch.
Biffle now easing in on the 17 car for 2nd position. Just 8 laps ago. It'll be 7 this time by.
Boy, guys, these Roush cars running so well right now. It's not a surprise at all. Remember, Carl Edwards early in this race, he was just killing everybody before he had his engine problem. You know, we talked a lot about Hendrick Motorsports, but these guys from Roush have got some good handling cars.
I bet you Biffle's going, come on, Matt, give me a shot at him. Give me a shot.
Yeah, he's like, come on, man, I can do it. And it looks like Matt might give him a little shot right here and let him get a little break. But
Biffle on the inside. Car slides up and can't make the pass.
They're still catching Jimmy Johnson. Even though these guys have been racing, he can see, Biffle can just see Jimmy Johnson right ahead of him.
But Andy, if they stay racing each other side by side, it slows them down, and they can't run them down. Boy, look at this.
Looked like Matt Kenseth drove in the corner too hard, slid up, and made the opening there for Greg Biffle.
Now, does he have enough time? 6 laps to go, and Biffle's got about 10 car lengths to make up.
He's faster, but he's still got some ground to make up.
Maybe that's 15 car lengths.
Well, Jerry, the next time they come by, we'll get a good read up here in the booth of the speeds on the racetrack to see if he's indeed catching them or not. It might have leveled out now.
Jimmy Johnson might have just said, okay, looked in the mirror and said, okay, he got by there, so I got to turn the wick up. Last time by, Jimmy Johnson and Greg Biffle ran exactly the same lap time.
To the thousandths of a second.
Unbelievable. 29:22.8 for both of the cars. I haven't seen that all day long. Now, with that going on, you can't pass anybody, though, right?
I think Jimmy's just keeping him just far enough back there.
Yeah.
Jimmy Johnson, what a performance down the stretch.
And right now, 86 points over his teammate, Jeff Gordon. So a big gainer for Jimmy Johnson today in this chase for the Nextel Cup Championship.
Jimmy Johnson led the points only 4 weeks all year long. He took over the points lead after Richmond, after New Hampshire, after Kansas City, and again, he was 9 points back going into Texas last week. Whoa, Johnson hanging on.
It doesn't look like he's cruising to this victory, I can tell you that. He's still driving hard. He looked in that mirror and saw that red car of Greg Biffle's and said, uh-oh, better go.
He told us last week after the race was over, he said, man, I'm not messing around. I am going for it. And he went for it today. 3 laps to go, guys. 3 laps to go.
This time by.
Total focus, total concentration by Jimmy Johnson, trying to win his second championship, trying to hang on for 2 more laps.
And I said, when it's your year, it's your year. Boy, if he wins his 4th in a row, Andy, that is in convincing fashion. And a guy deserves to win a championship.
Behind you, coming to the white here, buddy. Nice and smooth.
Gotta believe every noise inside the car is amplified. He knows his teammate, Jeff Gordon, is faded back to 10th spot. He knows he'll open up a significant points lead. With 1 race to go, white flag for Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy Johnson off of turn 2, trying to do what hasn't been done since 1998, trying to win 4 in a row as Johnson takes it down less than half a lap away from the checkered flag.
Dude, you are incredible. Awesome job today. Good job. Boys, I love you, man. God, you're awesome. You give me something to race every week. Thank you.
Well, at least somebody's excited.
Awesome. Awesome. Great job, Jimmy, Chad. It's an incredible job. Incredible pit stop today, guys. That's what did that. Pit stop, Jimmy. Awesome driver, my friend. Awesome.
That was Rick Hendrick you heard chime in there, the owner who has both these cars, and what a performance, Jeff. Jeff Gordon, by the way, finishing in 10th position. Jimmy Johnson is the winner for 4th consecutive race in a row. Jimmy's 33rd career win. Let's go down where Mike is caught up with the crew chief.
And talk about peaking at the perfect time. 4 consecutive wins for the 48 team, and now you carry a point lead of 80 points or more. We're still calculating the official points, but 80 points or more heading into the final race. How confident and how comfortable was that lead for you guys?
We're not. Obviously, we're all happy to extend the points lead and get another victory. This team has just done a phenomenal job all season long, and it's a great day for the 24 and 48 shop to get another victory. 10 wins in a year, that's pretty awesome, you know. But going into Homestead, you never know. You never know what's going to happen. You know, just as easily we could have an issue and not finish that race. So we just got to stay focused, keep our heads down, and do what we can. And, you know, I want to say thank you to all the veterans that we've got out there today. You know, Veterans Day, it's very, very special, and you know, we really appreciate everything you guys do for us and continue doing. Thanks.
Another incredible performance in the chase for the 48 team. Believe it or not, Doc, this is their 11th chase victory. No other team has more than 4.
Steve Letarte said if I can just get top 10s down the stretch, it should be good enough. Their 29th top 10 finish of the season for Jeff Gordon, but folks, he loses points. We'll update you how far back he is when we come back. Back at Phoenix International Raceway, and the NASCAR Nextel Cup chase is winding down. The clock is ticking. Here's a look at the point standings. One race to go, one championship at stake, and Jeff Gordon now being shown 86 points behind. It is a two-man race for the one title with just one race remaining. The others have been eliminated. Jimmie Johnson having won now his 4th consecutive race. By the way, Hendrick Motorsports 6 consecutive wins in a row for that organization. Let's go down to Jamie Little.
And Jimmie Johnson gets a big kiss from his wife, pulls into victory lane, just shaking your head like, I can't believe we're here for the 4th time. Jimmy, how do you keep racing like that, like you have nothing to lose?
I don't have a clue. I know one thing, and I just go out and do my job and give it all that I can. And I'm lucky to be in cars that are capable to win races and having pit stops and a pit crew that can put me in that position. So I'm dumbfounded, and I don't mean to not have a ton of excitement right now, but I'm just as shocked as everyone watching and couldn't be more proud of this race team.
86 points now over Jeff Gordon going into Homestead. What's going to happen?
It's kind of where we were last year. So we'll just have to go down there and be smart and just kind of see how it shakes out. But I'm just excited to do this for Rick, for Hendrick Motorsports, and all the hard work that goes into it. Lowe's and all their employee owners. We're giving everybody something to cheer about, and we're having a damn good time doing this.
Jimmy, you said you were in this position last year. What did you learn in this situation last year that could help you going into Homestead this time?
Homestead's going to be a stressful race weekend. Last year, it was pretty stressful. So, you know, we got 7 more days until we do it again. I'll just try to keep my mind clear, worry about the things that I can control, make sure that my guys and my team are all doing the same thing, and then just focus on next weekend.
I know it's looking ahead, but you have 4 in a row. Nobody's ever won 5 in a row. Do you think about the record?
Let's go. I mean, we've done 4. You got to have 4 before you have 5, right?
That's right. Congratulations. Jimmie Johnson victorious for the 4th time in 4 races, Doc.
Rick Hendrick's cars, 18 wins in 35 starts. Let's check in where Alan is caught up with Jeff Gordon.
Jeff Gordon, 10th place today, not the day you were looking for at the start. Tell us about your race.
Unless you lead every lap and beat Jimmie Johnson and win the race, we don't have a shot at it, man. I tell you, those guys are on an unbelievable roll, and whatever they've got, we're missing. You know, we know everything. I'm not hitting on it, and it's unfortunate. You know, another one, and we're just coming up short here at the crucial time. But you know, those guys have just knocked it out of the ballpark, and you know, it's going to be, you know, tough to beat that, even if we were hitting on all 8 cylinders. And you know, another top 10, but still just not a day good enough to get it done.
You had a little contact with Kevin Harvick late in the race before the final pit stop. How much did that affect your car?
It didn't affect it. I mean, you know, it's no big deal. You know, Kevin and I, you can't touch Kevin Harvick, because you touch him, he's got a short fuse. He gets pretty upset, and you know, he rubbed on me because I was racing him too hard, I guess, and I didn't like it either. So I rubbed back on him, and I thought we were going to all wreck. So, you know, it is what it is. That didn't affect us in any way about where we finished today. We were going backwards at that time anyway, and we just weren't getting a handle on it. And we took 4 tires, hoping that would, you know, pay off for us, but you know, traffic was just so horrendous, and you know, track position, all that, we just couldn't get up there.
It looks like it's 86 points going down to South Florida. Your thoughts?
It's over. You know, it's over. I mean, even if we win it, you know, it's because they have problems, and you know, while we'll accept it, we don't want to do it that way. And those guys have flat out killed everybody, and you got to give credit where credit's due. Those guys deserve a lot of credit. We didn't step up, you know, and win the races when we needed to. You know, we gave them a run for a while, and now we got to figure out, how to get the best finish we can at Homestead and end this season off on a positive note going into the off season.
Thanks for the time.
Yep, thank you.
Jeff Gordon very reflective, and the Hendrick camp, sadness in one end and jubilation and celebration elsewhere. Rick Hendrick able to smile. I'm sure he has mixed emotions there with Chad Knaus. That team has won 4 in a row, and his 4-time champion Jeff Gordon got to be hurting a little bit with that 10th place finish here today. Back in just a moment. Back at Phoenix International Raceway, Jimmy Johnson, Chad Knaus, Rick Hendrick all celebrating in victory lane. 4 consecutive wins. It is the 10th victory of 2007 for Jimmy Johnson. Let's go down where Dave is caught up with our 3rd place finisher.
Well, and Matt Kenseth still looking over his race car here. I saw you check the front end. I heard a couple of comments on the radio post-race, and I also saw you have a conversation with your teammate Greg Biffle about racing there. Matt, sum up this day for you, because really great race car, but not the result you wanted.
Well, I mean, it was a great day for us. We ran 3rd, and we probably led close to most laps, but it's certainly disappointing when you lose. I feel bad about that. Jimmy and them guys are just so unbelievably good, and they were a little better there in 2 tires. We were a little low on grip, but I'm really proud of my guys. They did a great job with the car. Not to complain about other drivers, but if that 01 would have maybe yielded a little bit more, showed maybe a little more consistency in his line, we might have been able to hold off the 48, but he was better.
Matt, 2 weeks in a row now, you've been competitive at the end of the year here. Does that give you some comfort knowing you guys have been that fast?
Well, I mean, it's 4 great races in a row for us, and I don't know where we're up to in points, but it's real important, for us to finish as high as we can in the point standings. So hopefully we're moving up there a little bit, and hopefully finish the season off strong next week.
Okay, they came in here 10th in the points right now, and all odds on that they're going to stay in that position or even move up at the end of today.
Dave, 4 consecutive top 5 finishes for Matt Kenseth, and the numbers now going to Homestead. This team right here has to finish 18th or better in the finale at Homestead to claim the championship. And folks, remember a year ago, Jimmy Johnson dodged 3 bullets. He had lug nut issues. He had 2 wrecks right in front of him at Homestead. Anything can happen. Back after these messages and a word from our ABC stations. Back at Phoenix International Raceway, great day for one of the Hendrick teams, Jimmy Johnson. Gets his 4th consecutive win. And the guy who was chasing for a championship, or guy that was chasing him for a championship, Jeff Gordon, finishing back in 10th spot. 86-point differential going to the finale, the curtain call on the 2007 Cup season at Homestead, Miami next week. And how about the guy who was really flying at the end, trying to run down Jimmy Johnson? He finished 2nd. He's with Mike.
And with a 2nd place finish, Greg Biffle was the guy who got closest to the rear bumper of the 48, but how close could you get?
Not close enough. Dish Network Ford Fusion car was really good. Greg Irwin, everybody, the guys did a great job in the pits, but we just couldn't quite get close enough. And if we could have got through the lap traffic faster, if we could have got around Matt quicker, but Matt pulled over and let me go and let me have a chance at him anyway, and got to thank him for that. But just couldn't quite get to him, and if I could have, definitely would have been a race. I think the 16 would have won.
It's interesting to hear that, because from an outsider's perspective, the 48 looks incredible. They've won 4 in a row now. You're on the racetrack with him. How good was he today?
He was pretty good, but there at the end, we were catching him just a tiny bit, and maybe if we'd had 10 more laps, we might have got to his bumper, but, it was going to take a little bit of time, or him make one mistake, catch some lap traffic, those kinds of things is what it was going to take for us to catch him. But it would have been a heck of a race if we could have got there.
Greg Biffle brings it home 2nd. Now he goes to Homestead, a track where he's won the last 3 races.
Yeah, how good is Greg Biffle at Homestead? And these guys celebrating down here, thinking that they might have a real good shot. Remember, they got to finish 18th or better in the finale to be a champion. When we come back, we'll visit with Tony Stewart, who finished 4th here today. Back at Phoenix International Raceway, Victory Lane celebration is ongoing here. What a great afternoon for Jimmy Johnson. 4 in a row in these aerial shots from high above Victory Lane in the garage area, courtesy of our good friends at Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR, helping drivers get to the finish line for over 50 years. Well, the sun is setting in Phoenix, Arizona, but the curtain call on the NASCAR season will take place at Homestead, Miami next Saturday, 4 o'clock Eastern time, the NASCAR Busch Series finale, and then 3 o'clock Eastern on Sunday afternoon, ABC, live flag-to-flag coverage of the Ford 400 at Homestead, Miami Speedway. Jimmie Johnson takes the win. Greg Biffle in second spot. Matt Kens a third. And the fourth top 5 in his last 5 finishes here goes to Tony Stewart, who finishes 4th. He's with Dave.
And with Tony Stewart now, and I guess the first thing that we have to look at, especially in this chase, Tony, is welcome back to the top 5, man.
Yeah, thanks. It's it's been a while. I mean, we've had some squirrely weeks the last couple weeks, but man, look on the board there and see us 4th. It's not a bad day by any means.
You guys had some trouble on pit road, Tony. Talk about driving this car on this flat track and getting through traffic.
Yeah, you can't pass 80 cars and expect to win the race, but you know, we still got ourselves in a position there at the end, and you know, the good thing is these guys don't quit. I mean, they never give up, and you know, even after a couple bad stops there at the end, they were doing really good on 2-tire stops and not losing us the track position again. So you know, that's all you can ask for. I mean, we had a good car. I mean, I'm really proud of Greg Zipadelli, who you know, made a huge change yesterday after happy hour. Our car wasn't even a top 10 car, I don't think, and you know, here we are when we had a shot to at least run up front and have a chance to win the race.
And next week you go to a track that in its early days was very good to you. It's changed a little bit since then, and decided to go to Homestead again.
Yeah, it's got a lot of banking since I won there, but we were really good when it was flat, and I've been terrible since they've banked it. But you know, I'm looking forward to going there. I mean, every time we've tested there, I've always enjoyed the test. It's you know, a track, like you say, that we've run well, so it's got good memories when we go down there. And the other good thing is it's the last one of the year, so we know we get a break after that.
All right, a great 4th place finish here today. Another top 5 here at Phoenix for Tony Stewart.
Tony Stewart talking about his crew. They lost a total of 17 positions on pit road when they had some issues early on the pit stops, but on the money stop, the one that counted, they got Tony in and out in a hurry. Great job for the Home Depot guys. And how about an owner who has now won 18 of 35 races, 6 in a row? Jamie Little.
Well, what a day once again for team owner Rick Hendrick. Your boys battling back and forth, but mixed emotions today. How do you balance those emotions?
Well, you know, you want them both to run well, and you know, all you can do is just give them the best stuff you have, and hopefully, you know, one of them will come out on top. But it seems like every week we've been running side by side and battling each other, and you know, I think Jeff got off a little bit there. We got off in the sequence, and Jimmy was just so good. And boy, this has been a long chase. I think next week can't come quick enough.
I don't know how many laps I saw you do going from the 48 to the 24, and you finally ended up on the 5 pit box. How do you keep all of that emotion? How do you stay on top of it?
Well, you know, I usually just walk up and down pit road anyway, and I stay on each box a little bit, and I purposely kind of tried to stay off of the top of the 48 and the 24. But I don't know how many miles I logged today, but it was a bunch. And but the guys have done a great job, and you know, we just got one more race. But it's been an unbelievable year. I just can't believe the victories this year and where we ended up in the points so far. And we just got to go to Miami and close out the deal.
All right, congratulations, Rick Hendrick, going for yet another championship in 1 week.
Boy, how much class and character can one individual have? I mean, when you look that up in the NASCAR books, you see his picture, and that's exactly what it is. Rick Hendrick, an owner that has his 6 titles, trying to get his 7th title. Jimmie Johnson inching closer to it with his 4th consecutive win. Last driver to win 5 in a row, Richard Petty, way back in 1971.
ESPN's coverage of NASCAR Nextel Cup Series on ABC. Brought to you by Subway. Subs that are full-flavored and delicious. Subway restaurants satisfy the craving. Subway, eat fresh. And Allstate, the official insurance sponsor of NASCAR.
It all comes down to one race and one championship, and Jimmie Johnson has an 86-point lead as this celebration is ongoing down there in Victory Lane, and they continue to be able to know what an incredible finish here for Jimmie Johnson. 4 consecutive wins. Let's go down where Alan Bestwick is caught up with our 5th place finisher, Ryan Newman.
Ryan Newman finished 5th today. It looked like the race was a handful for most everybody. How about for you?
Yeah, I mean, the all-told Dodge was pretty good. We were good enough that we needed to get track position with a disadvantage with 2 tires or fuel only, and that was okay. I mean, I wasn't mad about that, but I wish we just had that extra little speed where we could be on everybody else's strategy and, you know, be able to take 2 tires and everybody else takes 2 tires, or take 4 when they take 4. And I think we're getting closer to that. It's just a matter of time, and to have a top 5 finish is great. To build on another top 5 finish 2 in a row, that's really great. I don't know that we've done that all year, so to finish up at least 2 out of the 3 that way would be great.
Ryan, this car you've raced with now for about a half a season. You have to race with it all year now. What are your thoughts on what you need to do to develop your team's program for full-time next year with this configuration?
Well, the bottom line is we just got to be faster than everybody else, and we're working towards that. The car doesn't drive as good as the old car. We just have to put that out of our head. I mean, it's not as fast, it doesn't feel as good, but that's gone. It's all in the past. So, you know, it's just a matter of being better and not only making ourselves better, all three teams better for 2008, and then being better than the competition. So, you know, the new thing coming in is going to be the intermediate tracks. If we can get a leg up on that, which there are many of, that'll be good for the points and hopefully good for the season.
Little strategy for some track position and a lot of hard racing gets Ryan Newman a top 5 today.
Great effort for Ryan Newman. And guys, okay, 86 points going to Homestead. If you're Jimmy Johnson, you know, how do you play it?
Well, if you're Jimmy Johnson, you just got to keep driving the way you've been driving, Jerry. Drive hard, stay on the gas wide open. The guy's proved to everybody that he's not settling back and doing nothing. He is just on it. He wants every point he can get. And you know the good thing about this? Somebody on that team is going to win, and Rick Hendrick's going to be the big winner because right now he's going to New York no matter what team wins.
Jeff Gordon in second, 86 points back. Do you have any choice at all?
Have no choice, just to go out and run, try to get another win. That would just help him a little bit. This thing is Jimmy Johnson's to lose, and I don't think they're going to lose it the way they've been running this year. They got so much momentum on their side. I say go for the record. Go for 5 in a row.
Andy, 4 in a row. That's just unbelievable what they're doing nowadays. If he wins this thing, he really deserves it.
You and I were at Homestead a year ago covering the action for the finale for SportsCenter, and Jimmy Johnson had a number of close calls. He had a lug nut issue. He had a couple of wrecks right in front of him, which could have changed the complexion of the whole championship.
It really could, Jerry. I remember Chad Knaus had time when Jimmy Johnson pulled away. Chad screamed on the radio, stop. They tightened that left front lug nut up. He went out, and it's smart calls like that. It's going to help win this title.
You're chasing a championship, and you got to be able to have those kind of days. And another one of those days, 4 in a row, 4 wins in a row for Jimmy Johnson, his 10th win of 2007. Back at Phoenix International Raceway, 500 kilometers of action, the penultimate NASCAR Nextel Cup Chase event for 2007. All the excitement, all the hype, all the hyperbole headed down to Homestead for the fun finale of the season. Jimmy Johnson will take an 86-point lead down there after winning 4 in a row, his 10th win in 2007. Here's the finish. Greg Biffle finishes second. How good is he down at Homestead? Take a look at the finishes here. J.J. Yaley, the hometown boy, gets a top 15 finish.
Well, the championship's looking pretty good right now for Hendrick, but the guy you better take a look at is Greg Biffle. He's going for 4 in a row down at Homestead next week.
I think they've named that place Greg Biffle International Speedway.
And he has got some momentum right now with this second place finish.
Robbie Gordon getting a lead lap finish in 24th. Sam Hornish Jr., first ever Cup start. Hang in there strong, Sam, and got a top 30 finish. Got a lot of laps of experience here today in a NASCAR Nextel Cup car.
Big hit for Casey Kane with the crash off of turn 2 today. Not a good run for him.
Jacques Villeneuve, Carl Edwards, who sat on the pole and dominated, led the first 87 consecutive laps until having an engine problem. And Carl Edwards, by the way, folks, slid back to 9th in the chase points. Only the top 10 will be on the stage at New York for the celebration. Let's go down and wrap it up in our pit studio. Susie Colbert and Brad Daugherty.
Well, we heard Jeff Gordon say that he believes it's over. Well, yes, it may be the largest gap between 1 and 2 in chase history going into the final race. But it's not over till it's over. It's 87 points, and that could happen.
It could happen, but Susie, Jimmy Johnson has been so dominant these past several weeks. It's been unbelievable. He has really shown championship form. Last week at Texas, we saw him drive the wheels off the race car. He backs it up again this week. 4 wins in a row. He is showing the true championship spirit, which made him a champion last year and looks like it's going to make him a champion again.
You have teammates. They're sharing information. How can one car, one driver, one team be that much better?
Because one driver likes his car one way and the other likes it another. They each have different feels in the race car. So you can get off just a little bit. If you put Jimmy Johnson in Jeff Gordon's race car, he may not like it, and vice versa. So you have to be able to hit on things with your own people, your own setups. Even though you have the best of everything, it can be a fickle thing that can cause a race car to act fickly. So it's really difficult. Jimmy Johnson is just unbelievable at this point.
got to be some drama left.
You got to have a little bit.
You got to have some drama left. Well, we're still looking forward to Miami. We're heading down there first. The NASCAR Busch Series final race is Saturday, the Ford 300 at 4 Eastern on ESPN2. And then on Sunday, the NASCAR Nextel Cup champ will be crowned. The last 3 championships have been decided during this final race of the season, the Ford 400 on ABC at 3 Eastern. And coming up next, except on the West Coast, America's funniest home videos over most of these ABC stations. Congratulations to Jimmie Johnson. We'll see you in Miami.